I know the original plan was to get an early start today, and the exact opposite happened. I actually have quite a bit that I need to do as well, so this is turning into a very bad habit with, especially with Crusader Kings, but actually with pretty much all the games that I've been doing lately. So I noticed that when I look back, my playtimes in Crusader Kings have actually been pretty consistent with the Monday entries, and the only thing that's been happening is I haven't been able to do the extra casts as I was planning. So there's a couple things that I might do. No real plans yet in terms of how long we'll go for this one. I think we'll play it by ear. And then... Oh, that was loud. Just a second, guys. Thank you so much for that retweet, Johnny Big Time. So I've got a couple ideas about what we'll do. We'll just run this this playthrough the way that we normally do in in the evenings sometimes. Interesting. Sometimes, it has to be a short playthrough. I do, like I said, I have quite a bit that I need to get done, but I will try to sort of compartmentalize everything. And as is usually the case, you get into a game and there isn't really a good time to stop. So we'll play it by ear as usual. Let me just take a second here and reset all my my settings, and then. I've got a couple of ideas about what I might want to do for the playthrough. So as far as extra streams are concerned, the aim for this one is still going to be sort of having the succession of Satanists trying to corrupt the Holy Roman Empire. But what I may wind up trying to do, just sort of so people can see a little bit more of this DLC, I might actually try and do, for some of the alternate playthroughs, just start up a second game and maybe do something a little bit more traditional. As far as this playthrough is concerned, if you're new to the channel or if you kind of want a summary in terms of where we were before, we're actually on the second generation. The first one died basically during his satanic initiation ritual. So we are playing the son of the first character. We are simply playing the county of Metz, which is actually, it turns out, a very difficult one to make any progress in terms of a start. We started in 1066, so 1090. We haven't made too much progress, although I've been a little bit better at keeping the game unpaused throughout. After this introduction, I'll try and keep with it. Johnny Big Time, how you doing, my friend? It's great to see you again. You will, as always, I love shouting you out, actually, but I want to hold it off for a little bit while we get some bodies in here. I hope the audio is okay. It feels like the music's a little quiet, but I don't know if you guys, have any, oh, that's probably why, because I had a menu open. Yeah, I'll definitely get you your attention. Did you have a stream tonight, by the way? I would know I was a little occupied playing Poland for a little bit of it. Anyway, so we're playing the County of Metz. We have definitely done some infrastructure. So we've got a hospital in here. Definitely quite a bit of plague that's been running around, although it seems like currently we're in a fairly decent time. My lord knows I'm a Satanist, which is a problem. And we don't have a direct path in terms of how I'm going to get any new land. There's a few different ways to kind of go about this, although I'm still a little uncertain in terms of what I can actually do. So I think what we're just going to continue on doing, we will continue with sort of this in-character thing, our goal of corrupting the Holy Roman Empire where we can. And then I will definitely play a little bit like I normally do. Obviously, any aims that I have will be secondary to my, my goal of corruption. But we'll see if there's maybe something I can accomplish in terms of stealing a county from someone or something like that. No stream tonight. You were working on the shows, just about finished actually. Should be able to start next week. That is excellent. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've got up. Oh my god, there's so many auto hosts coming in. We've got Shane Fit, Flow Fantasy, Cringy Cat, The Rambler 146, and Lady Dow. Thank you very much for all of those hosts, friends. And I know there's actually a couple of streamers who I really like streaming right now, so the fact that you are hosting me while they're online means a lot. Now, we're Ndox Gaming. Thank you very much for that host as well. So we're early enough in the new patch and new DLC for people. I still get some questions from people. What do you think of the new DLC? Now again, this is the first one that I've gotten from Paradox, sort of as a streamer. I've definitely gotten keys from Paradox before, but all my Crusader Kings ones have been from games that either somebody had bought for me or that, either games other than Crusader Kings. Or ones that I bought myself, or somebody had donated. Sorry, I'm losing a little bit of, I'm losing track of my train of thought. How you doing, Captain Bear? And T. Clark, good to see you too. So, as always, if you have any concerns in terms of whether or not the right motives are behind these recommendations, it's probably good that you know that. Now, as far as me, I'm in this really nice position where I've always been happy with the DLC from Crusader Kings 2. My issue has normally been about the price, actually. And I think that's very much a case-by-case thing. So, for instance, I actually thought Way of Life was a very good DLC, and a lot of people said it was overpriced, which I don't agree. I actually think it was one of the better ones and out of maybe the more fair of the prices. You're doing okay, except that Amazon wanted to charge you $6 for shipping on a poster. Jesus Christ. Gotta get that Prime membership. The target of my amorous attentions, Duchess Brunhilde, seems never to be around. It's no rush. I had to get a Doom poster. Well, hopefully you will find salve for your disappointment in a good old stream of Crusader Kings 2. So, I think it's actually, this could be said about anything that I cover. I think you guys have noticed that any games that I cover, there are very few of them which I have actually disliked. The one game that I was given a key for that I hated is one I didn't stream, and I used to be of the opinion I shouldn't talk about it, except that it got out. So I despise Rust. I regret ever being given the key. If the developer wants their key back, I am completely fine with that, because I am definitely not going to cover the game, and I think that it is not a good game, and I don't think they have any intention whatsoever of fixing it. It is not, to their credit, it is not as bad as Ark, where they seem content to effectively lie to their player base and just rake in as much money as they can off of this early access scam that they've got going. No rush. But yeah, generally when I've been given a game, even if it's one that I think is maybe has a limited audience, I've generally enjoyed them, and I think this is because I generally like gaming, right? So with that in mind, right, like I even like Conclave in Crusader Kings 2, and I don't do review streams, probably for that reason. I don't know if I maybe have the critical eye that people are looking for. I think one of the best things that I can do is simply say what kind of a person I think will like a given game. So why would you like Monks and Mystics? Well, as you probably know from the patch, I believe this 4th position in the council has been added, and I think this is actually the secret to understanding what's going on with Monks and Mystics. And again, I said this earlier, this entire theory can be blown out of the water if somebody just checks the dev diaries and says, actually, this is what they were trying to do with it. But life's too short to read the dev diaries. I really should start doing that, actually, because there's there's very clearly some passion that's behind this game. Even when I've disagreed about like pricing or something like that, it's very hard to say that the Paradox Development Studio is half-assing anything, except maybe Sunset Invasion. I don't think I'll get Sunset Invasion. Why would I like Rust? Because there's something wrong with you. Yeah, I apologize for this too, Johnny, because I know you got a lot of time in Rust, but I think you've passed on. We do need to do Conan sometime, though. Hey, Subject Panic, how you doing? So yeah, I think the secret to this DLC is covered by the fourth, sort of the fourth occupation for your council. Each of these is basically sort of a I'm going to idle position. So scheming is no longer done in a given county. That's something done throughout your realm. If you don't have a particular person that you want to try and convert, you can perform statecraft, and that will do, as it says here, work to improve relations with random vassals, neighboring rulers, and your liege, and lower threat. So basically, the first thing that you'll see here is the first thing that you'll basically see here is that instead of having to micromanage your council all the time, you now sort of have the I gotta wait and see buttons. That's what I really think the societies do. Now, don't get me wrong, you are not spending money on you're not spending money on this just so you can have something to do during your downtime. There's actually mechanics that are introduced here. Count Fulmar of Metz achieved the ambition to groom an heir. Excellent. Alright, so we can make a little more progress on my guy. He's 45, so it's not... Oh, he doesn't have any ambitions. Interesting. Okay. Betrothed can marry. Yeah, I'm okay. Fulmar will be married now to... actually an older bride, but it's what I had, so... Oh, that's really cool, Subject Panic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to Revelations, although I feel like I should do a little bit of... I feel like I should be... I should be doing a little bit of Deus Ex as well, because I know people like that one, and I sort of went all in on... I went all in on Revelations last week. So the societies, again, if you look at, so I'm playing an HRE member. So in this case here, we have got basically the society part. Ooh, I feel spirited and restless. Maybe some work might calm me down. I've lost the trait slothful. Oh, that's going to make me unpopular with the Satanists. So there's sort of this ranking within the societies. Out of the societies that I could join as a member of the Holy Roman Empire in 1066, there was the Benedictine Order, the Dominican Order, the Hermetic Society, and Lucifer's Own. I've joined Lucifer's Own, which is the point of this playthrough, to sort of corrupt the Holy Roman Empire from within. I've been pretty unsuccessful at it, and I think this is because my character has such a low diplomacy rating, or it's not such a low opinion modifier for everybody. But we'll see if we can maybe start trying to convert some other figures. I have a feeling I'm going to keep getting this message as long as the war's going on. But basically, there's a couple of things that this will do for you. So in addition to being a member of the society and just sort of doing all of your different activities, one thing I've been doing is trying to move up within the society, and I'm actually currently trying to kill the current High Priest. Unfortunately, he's in hiding, though. He's 58, so I'm kind of hoping that as he continues in hiding, he'll slowly go mad, and maybe I'll be able to take the title from him. The Lords of Upper Lorraine have approved the institution of the title revocation allowed law. So there's a few things that being a member of a society will do for you. You add new mechanics. So as an abjurer, the lowest rank of it, so it looks like the King of Brittany was not inclined to join the cult. So as an abjurer, you can sacrifice your prisoners, basically, and that will give you dark power. Moving up, as you move up the ranks, you can summon a familiar, which will improve your stats. You can gain Tainted Touch, which is sort of a supernatural way of trying to kill someone. And then you can do Demonic Possession, which will actually try and, push someone towards your... it'll basically bend them to your will, or it'll potentially drive them insane. I'm currently a priest in Lucifer's Own. This grants me Dark Divorce. I actually did this to my wife. She's spontaneously combusted. Dark Healing, which I've used on myself. That actually outed me as a Satanist, I believe. And then I can invite Disciple of Satan. Enables the decision to invite a member of Lucifer's Own to join you at court in exchange for dark power. So this is kind of the currency within the society. You can use that to level up. So in this case here, I would need to spend 2,000 dark power to become the High Priest, and there's only one position available. So in this case, I need to wait for the current High Priest to get lost, and of course, I'm trying to speed that about. All right, so I need to assign a new Chancellor. In this case here, I'm just a small county, so I don't need to worry so much about powerful vassals. I'm going to do one quick check. I'll do invite a noble to court, see if I get a good roll of the dice. Well, he's a good steward. Is he better than my current steward is the real question. No, he is not. Let's do one more. Yeah, don't want him. Alright, we'll still say no rush on Brunhilde. So we'll just appoint whoever we can as Chancellor. I could also try and appoint somebody who likes me. Actually, that makes sense because, well, they'll all be malcontent, actually, so. Yeah. Get somebody... And we will continue to fabricate a claim. It's very unlikely that we're actually going to pull this off. As you can see here, it's only 3% chance yearly. Meeting with the Queen, I made sure to only cautiously question the absolute power of our almighty God. Regretfully, it seems that my words only irritated my acquaintance. From the steely look that she finally gave me, I should probably steer clear of her for now. Alright, I think I've tried to convert the council for the king to no avail. But yeah, so in addition to the fact that you've got some gameplay mechanics with the societies, they'll actually put you on missions. And again, depending on the society you're on, the mission will take different forms. So Lucifer's Own tends to be... I'm in battle? Count Fulmar of Metz was wounded in the thick of battle. Curses. Actually got a lot of negative health modifiers, but... Alright, so the King of Poland didn't want anything to do with this. Maybe I should stop trying to convert kings. In the chaos of battle, your men have managed to corner Prince Bishop Bernhard. He resisted bravely before they slew him. Meeting with King Salomon, I made sure to only cautiously question the absolute power of his almighty God. Thankfully, it seems that my carefully chosen words had the desired effect on him. From his glittering eyes, I got the distinct impression that he enjoyed the philosophical aspect of our conversation. Sensible man, him. I arranged a run-in with King Salomon on the palisades of his castle today, and his face lit up upon seeing me as we stay out talking for hours. I offer him a protection spell in a leather pouch. Of course, I do not explain the content. Yet he smiles, accepting the token. He needs just one more little push. Alright, so I think we've finally got somebody in. Aha! There is the end. It's a shame, actually. It would have been cool to become the... It would have been cool to become the priest, but there we go. We've just finished our first Satanist playthrough. Count Fulmar has given up the ghost at age 46. He died in battle against Prince Bishop Henfried of Sticht. Guilty of the sin of pride, he wanted everyone to know of his greatness. A wicked man, Fulmar, will surely pay for his sins in the afterlife. Count Fulmar, being an illegitimate child, Fulmar will surely set out to make his mark on destiny. Long live Count Fulmar. Alas, Fulmar von Metz has died bravely on the field of battle. Alas, so I think this is because I was a commander. When I proceeded to reveal the brand on my lower arm, certain that the final hook would sink in, Salomon inhaled sharply, worrying me for a second. You truly are a witch then, he says, eager and relieved. Can you help me win on the battlefield, he continues, eyes pleading. Patience, brother. We will speak more soon. Somehow I don't think he will. Alright, so we're back. It's a nice good little reset moment. My ruler was quite unpopular, and my council will probably be pretty mad at me. But the nice thing is that we have kind of a wide open arrangement. So first thing that we're going to do is we will try and groom an heir. And I've got some pretty crappy stats overall. Now we're pretty good for money right now, so I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to go for a seduction focus again. So I'll increase my intrigue and fertility, and intrigue is actually the primary stat of the kind of the Lucifer's Own group. So we'll start with that. Now, how does one join the Covenant? Notice here that you have to be a member of the society to actually see who a member or who's in it. All right, now I'm not a sinner, so it looks like we're actually going to have to get some notches on the belt while we do that. And I'm too dumb to be a member of the Hermetic Society, so we're actually going to avoid joining any societies for now. Now, what I'm going to try and do here is appoint people on the basis of sort of their skill, and then in addition to that, I'm going to try and bring them over on the basis of going to try and bring them on the basis of how much they like me. So a good example here would be Lymar. Currently is a pragmatist. Actually, this is pretty good because he's Craven. I think we'll bring him in. I'm avoiding the bishop just because they're currently a malcontent, and I know that's going to reverse when they start to like me a little bit more. But I figure why risk it, right? I might as well just put some people who are fairly strong by my standards in there. So in this case, we'll put Hugo in place just because he has the highest martial. Got a steward in place. So this one is a little bit of a tougher call. He's so strong with his stewardship. I can live with him being a malcontent. I think this is the best spy master I can get. It's very tempting to go for Gottfried because he has a very high, he's fond of me. But in fact, it's almost desirable that I make him my court chaplain. But the nice thing is if I kick out Adolf, I can always assign Gottfried anyway. So we'll see what this does to my council composition. Currently, only my steward is malcontent. So he may actually be able to pull off some things. Next up, the nice thing about doing one thing I always like about starting a new generation is that, especially if you guys are interested in sort of learning the game, actually it just occurred to me I should... So I have a friend who just got into this, and they've jumped in hard. So one of the things I like to do kind of at the start, especially if you guys are interested in picking up the game, I don't know if it's still on sale. Usually it does go on sale when they release a new DLC. But here's one of the reasons why people say that starting as a count is actually not a bad idea. Right now we have Metz. This is our territory. We can do what we want with it. So I only have one thing I really need to focus on. Now, my biggest drawback here is that my stats suck, and that's going to be a big problem for me in terms of achieving any kinds of ambitions. But I have to live with what I was dealt. So we'll start with Metz, and in this case, I'm going to say for my chancellor, I'm actually going to still try and get a claim on ideally a duchy. This is currently actually, there's a war going on for this right now, but I have a feeling that the time it's going to take me, this one has, again, a 3% chance of turning out. I'm really just playing the odds on this. For my marshal, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to train troops. The main reason for that is that my levies are pretty weak, especially when I compare it to my neighbors. 1.71, Nordgau 3.5, I mean he's a duke, so that would make sense. Loran, so this is my liege, 3.15. I'm not going to be winning any fights with these guys. And in fact, my army is so weak that if I were to try and siege this holding... Actually, I'm lucky because they raised their levies, so this would have 558. So I could finally siege this place, but normally it would be 1276. So even at maximum excuse me, maximum capacity, I wouldn't be able to raise my levies. I wouldn't be able to raise levies enough to take it on. So that's why I'm moving my marshal in to upgrade the recruitment drives. Similarly, I want to collect taxes and mets. That's going to be increasing my sort of my overall revenues. And in the end, if I want to be doing any kind of military conquest, that's going to rely on mercenaries at the moment. A bit of a tough call in terms of what I want to do with my spy master. I think I'm actually going to bank that for a little bit, and now I need to decide what I want to do with my court chaplain. I can proselytize, I can research cultural tech, or I can improve religious relations. I think, because I'm going to be, as nice as it is to get bonus piety, I think what I'm probably going to do here, unless I want to actually build up my, you know, a nice sort of reserve of piety or something like that, I think I'm just going to continue researching cultural tech, because that's actually very helpful in terms of getting certain laws. All right, next up, Hugo von Metz has acted dishonorably towards me. He's my marshal, though, is he not? Yeah, not much of a reason for me to imprison him. Also, that goes against the council, so this is something I added in Conclave. So notice here, this is going against the will of the council will be viewed as an act of tyranny. In this case here, I'm in favor of it. Everybody else is opposed. The Glory Hound does not want to weaken my dynasty. So I guess this guy's related to me somehow. So this guy is calling in or had a favor called in on him, and the pragmatists have no particular opinion, but my diplomacy is very low. So next up, we've got a couple of minor titles. In this case, I'll assign the court physician with the highest learning. Hopefully, this will improve his opinion of me by a bit. It does. And then the council's discontent just because it's a new rulership. But I will accept the position of commander, although I hope he doesn't call it in. Okay, so we've got some weak claims that we can press. I can try and claim the Duchy of Lorraine. However, I would be doing that for I'd be doing that for my wife. Very interesting. I don't think that would actually pass. Ah, I know what we're gonna do. Okay, I remember now. So I actually got this so that I could press this claim. So the idea here is that I'm actually going to, I'm gonna wait for this war to finish. Let's assume I get Lower Lorraine. No, we're actually gonna hold off on some of this. I think we're going to keep my Chancellor there on the odd chance things don't work the way that I want. So the immediate plan that I've got right now, so my wife has a claim on the Duchy of Lower Lorraine. What will happen is if I have a child with her, that title will pass on to my child, and I will finally be able to achieve my goal of sort of moving up in the world. So I forgot that I actually married her specifically for this reason. So it's actually just as well that I'm doing the seduction focus. I suppose I can't seduce my own wife. But I'll maybe hold off on some of my amorous adventures until we resolve some of these issues. Now, as far as Ragna is concerned, she's a courtier. Not at all apparent to me how I benefit from going on these, and they're really far away, so we're going to ignore her claims. So what we're going to do right now, like I said, the way I always sort of break down the game at the start of a new, especially a new member of the dynasty, but the way that I would start every game is start with myself, sort of see what I'm working with. I'm dealing with a guy who's got very weak stats. At least he's brave. I then move to the council to just sort of see what I've got in terms of, extra stats that I can get. So at least, except for my Chancellor, my council's got some fairly good stats to make up for the dullard. I am looking to get some kind of sin, but ideally I don't want to piss off my wife right away, so we'll hold off for a bit. I'll also make her high Almer just so the opinion can go a little bit higher. And at least for a little while, we'll wait on some events. So again, a county is really nice because it allows you to really focus on your attention. The drawback is that it's also very hard to progress because, of course, there are a lot of there's a lot of strong neighbors around you. So more of the new music DLC that I picked up. Now, of course, the drawback here is that we don't have any societies. I don't want to join the Benedictines or the Dominicans, especially because it actually reduces my fertility, which is the opposite of what I want to be doing right now. So, yeah, actually, you know, Zepex, I'd say even, welcome, by the way. I'd even say the default music for the game is really well done. It's probably out of all of the Crusader Kings games, with maybe the exception of the opening theme for Europa Universalis. I think Crusader Kings probably has consistently my favorite music. But one of the things that's so funny now, especially having had the experience of playing some Monks and Mystics, is really funny how you, like, I never really thought about the waiting period when I played this game, and yet now I'm so consistently sort of waiting for the next society thing to happen. I think I'm gonna make her a diplomat. Do I like all Paradox games? Zipek, I definitely have some different... Oh my goodness, Jesse Quill, thank you so much for that host. I think we gotta get some shout-outs out of the way now, once we've got these ones in. But I'll answer Zepex's questions, and I'll give you guys a quick introduction. I know some of you guys really don't like Crusader Kings, so I'll give you guys a chance to run out. And we've probably got some Jesse Quill raid messages coming in, so thank you very much, guys. But yeah, I do like, I think I definitely have some gradients in terms of what I like about the Paradox games. Crusader Kings 2 was my first, and it's definitely still one of my favorites. I'm not as good at Europa Universalis 4. I'm getting better at it, but I've had a little more difficulty having it get its hooks into me. Victoria 2, the mechanics are the most interesting to me, but because it's older, I find it a little more difficult to get into. Hearts of Iron 4 I've really been enjoying, and I actually really like Stellaris as well, so I think I'd say I do like them, although it's definitely a series that I have, I have favorites for. Anyways, let's take a quick hello to the new people who are in here. So the number I got here was 90 people watching Jesse Quill, exceptionally well done. So welcome to Jesse Quill, To Be Fair, Midran Emrys. Oh, the music's getting good. Ali08 Girl, OCS1 Spectre, Rockshock, the Scrub Slinks, and D-Sonic X. Welcome everybody. Thank you very much for the host. For those of you who don't know, I know Jess has probably already given you a little bit of an introduction. I think this border is actually a bug that was introduced in the new patch. My Stuart Guido has collected a special tithe in Metz, got 16 gold for my trouble. I'm going to keep the game on slow just so you guys can admire this wonderful map of, we'll make it terrain. You can look at the wonderful map of Europe while I introduce myself. So for those of you who come from Jesse Quill, I'm actually a mod for her, but on Monday nights I do Crusader Kings 2. For those of you unfamiliar with this game, Crusader Kings 2 is what's called a grand strategy game. The company Paradox Development Studio. It's kind of the development arm of Paradox Interactive, who've published games like Magicka. They've done Tyranny. There's actually quite a few titles that they've given out. It's a very diverse studio. They're Swedish. Really interesting studio, both from the perspective of publishing and development. But the dev studio's kind of crown jewels are these grand strategy games, which are sort of these, I'd almost say political simulators, although it depends on what game you're playing. This game takes place in the Middle Ages. You can start as early as 769 AD, assuming you have the proper DLC. But basically you play some kind of a noble in the Middle Ages. And what this game is mostly focused around is the relationship between the vassal and lord. Recently got some new DLC that came out, so I am currently playing a count in Metz, currently a member of the Holy Roman Empire. We started in 1066, so we're still fairly early on in the game. And what this new DLC has added is societies. And so we actually just finished this. We just finished a kind of one generation of this family who achieved very high rank in Lucifer's Own, which is kind of a group of Satan worshippers, which is why I can't see who is a member until I join it. But basically, this game added sort of secret societies that you can be a member of. You can join the Benedictine or the Dominican orders, which would be sort of monastic orders, very much about piety and good works. The Hermetic Society is something a little bit more intelligence-based, and because my character is dull, he's never going to be joining that. And then, of course, the Sinners can join Lucifer's Own. But basically, this game is, like I said, it's about the relationship between the vassal and their liege. It's a little bit like a sandbox game, so one of the big things that you want to do in this game is sort of define what success is for you, or what you want to try and accomplish. And what we've done in this game is we've said that we want to join the Satanists wherever we can, and we want to try and corrupt the Holy Roman Empire from within. So what I need to do right now is actually start and get some sin, but currently I am trying to impregnate my wife so I can continue the bloodline, and I'll maybe start sleeping around with my seduction focus. I'm pretty sure some sins will be coming shortly after that. So, let's see. I'm going to do the shoutouts in reverse order. So we'll start off with a wonderful shout out for Jessie Quill, a very dear friend of mine. I think, of course, the majority of people in here are already going to know who she is, but that's not going to stop me from talking about what she casts and why I think you guys would have a wonderful time following her. She was, of course, streaming Resident Evil 7. I didn't even need her to tell me to know that. But she's an excellent streamer. She's somebody who has got a background in both IT and psychology, and so while I know some of you guys like the Crusader Kings and the Hearts of Iron and such, for those of you who are new to the stream, by the way, we do a grand strategy game every Monday, and of course we were given a key for Monks and Mystics, so in this case it only makes sense to be doing Crusader Kings. It is also the first one that I really got into on Twitch, so it's always nice to kind of come back home to that, and it probably is my favorite Paradox grand strategy game, although obviously it sort of depends on what your tastes are in terms of whether or not. I think Europa Universalis is probably the most popular one. If I don't really have any hard data on that, but it seems like that's probably the most viewed on Twitch, and it's definitely one where I think most people I talk to, even people who don't watch Twitch, if they've heard of one of these games, it's usually Europa. Anyways, this isn't about me. This is about Jessie Quill. So I know some of you guys like watching this stuff because of either the discussion of economics or maybe how it relates to the political economy that I did, or you like some historical anecdotes, you like some of the emergent storytelling that comes out of this, and I would say that while it's maybe not explicit in terms of Jess covering the same ideas, I'll just read this flavor text here. Young Dorothea has finished her education in the ways of intrigue. It seems that she learned all the basic skills required, so she became a flamboyant schemer, and now we're going to marry her off. This is promising, actually. I can't make it matrilineal, yeah. Anyway, so Jess will, I think she's always at her strongest whenever she's doing sort of story-based games, and she really, I think, one, she has a great ability to kind of interact with an audience and make that connection with people, which of course is what streaming, I think, is really what drives streaming as an entertainment medium. I think probably that individual connection with the personality behind the stream is probably what makes it fairly unique, and especially in my case, it tends to combine some of the better aspects of radio, but gives you sort of this common interest in the form of the video game that's being played. And of course, for me, I tend to try and use it as sort of a platform to talk about some things that maybe you studied in school and found a little bit boring, but once you present them as game mechanics, they could be interesting. And I think what's really interesting about Jess's cast is that she does something very similar, although for her own specialties. And the reason why I say I really like her doing narrative-based games, or at least ones that have very good stories, I think there's a fine difference between the two, perhaps imperceptible even. But I think what's great about Jess is that she's always got a unique spin on it. And especially when she's playing games like The Last of Us. I don't have a PlayStation, so I'm never going to be able to play that game myself. And even though I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that she said in her sort of post-mortem of the game, there's something really special about being able to watch such a mature and interesting story like that, and to have somebody like Jess bring the insight that she's had, either through her lived experience or through her studies. And again, it's just the difference. Anybody can sit down and play The Last of Us, and I mean, that story is so strong that I really think even a bad caster would be able to pull off the The Last of Us without too much trouble. But I think being able to watch somebody like Jess will allow you to appreciate how much thought went into The Last of Us, and how deep the characters are, and how interesting that story really is. And of course, the great thing about Jess is that that is only one of the things that she does. I think a lot of you guys probably got a chance to see her in her creative cast. She's got a great sort of a rewards program. So for those of you who do like going the extra mile for streamers and donating things on Patreon or on GameWisp, you actually get to see her make all the thank you cards and the baking and all of that stuff that she does. And then she's also occasionally done some programming streams. So she is, in addition to being a very talented games caster, is one of the more diverse streamers that I know. And of course is the person who has earned that mod badge. So at some point she's going to hit SO Jessequil, so you can click on her name and follow her. Excellent, there we go. But if you aren't following her already, please check her out. She is a very dear friend of mine, and again, I think any streamer is only ever going to be able to ask you for a chance to entertain you. But I do think that I put a fairly high probability on you checking out Jess and being entertained. Not to be outdone, I know we had Johnny Big Time in here a little bit earlier. I don't know whether or not I will get a chance to... I don't know whether or not he's still inside of here, so he can... if he just can't defend himself if I say something wrong about him. But he's another outstanding caster. He was in here a little bit earlier, and he is an incredibly funny caster, first of all. But hey, there he is. But he's also very quiet in chat sometimes, so... like I said, really, really funny caster. But one of the things that's great about Johnny, too, he's actually really good at the games that he plays. So in addition to the fact that he's probably my favorite Dark Souls streamer, I know Dynamite is giving him a bit of a run for his money, but I think in the case of... in the case of Johnny, he is one of... I think he has the distinction. He's close with Elkanu on that, but I don't think there's been a cast in the last couple of months where I haven't wound up with a good clip out of Johnny. In fact, if things get too slow in the game, I know I'm keeping it on slow right now while I do these shoutouts, so I'll speed it up, and if things don't pick up, we'll maybe show you a couple of the clips so you guys can see what you're checking out. But Johnny Big Time is again, good at the games that he plays and good at casting. He is hilarious. Even when he's pissed off at a game, he actually finds a way to make it fun, and especially because I had a bunch of backseating problems during Assassin's Creed Revelations. Like, I always will appreciate how difficult it is not to let your emotions sort of run ahead of you and prevent the cast from working. I usually fail in that regard. Johnny Big Time has always given a great cast. The rare times that... Actually, I won't say he often fails at games, but like the times that he does fail, they're in funny and interesting ways. But like I said, he is a guy who's so consistently good at the games that he plays, as well as consistent in giving the fun with the games that he plays. And then on top of all of that, he's just upgraded his computer, so we got to see a great playthrough of the Battlefield 1 single-player story. That's actually a single-player story that I liked a lot. I think I played most of the stories twice out of it. And I happen to know that he's got a bunch of other stuff coming up soon as well. So two very different casters, but easily two of my favorite on Twitch, Jessequil and Johnny Big Time, two wonderful people who I really hope you guys click the follow button on. You're not going to know them that they're online if you don't follow them. If it isn't your thing, you can always unfollow later. But I definitely... These are people who I would like to stake my reputation on recommendations for. These are people I would feel very reliable. Even if I were like just quit casting or something like that, I would keep the channel up to consistently host them, because I really think that both of them have something special and something quite rare to find on Twitch. So... all right. It started as an uneasiness around guests and strangers, then it evolved into an awkwardness and a strong feeling of discomfort. I don't want to meet any new people, and I can potentially gain the trait shy, or I just have to try and be more gregarious, which I'll do here. In this case, I don't quite see the benefit of gaining the shy trait unless you specifically want Want to do that, Gregarious will improve my stats, which I definitely need. My attraction goes up, which is great, and then my vassal opinions and such go up. So this is a purely positive roll here. I've actually never hit I don't want to meet any new people, so there could be another event that triggers out of this. But for those of you who are new to Crusader Kings 2, this is a large part of what the game is about. It's in part a role-playing game in addition to being a strategy game. You'll actually notice that I don't, especially as a count, because I'm so weak, I actually don't have a lot of... I don't do a lot of military things, and that's because there are other ways of achieving your goals, such as assassination. Alright, so I can go into hiding because it looks like somebody wants to kill me. And plot, he does not want to end the plot. Do I need this man? I do not. Alright. Well, we will now fight fire with fire. I think I said I was keeping my Spymaster as a in reserve, so let's I can never remember where he is. Oh, he's in the court. Jesus. Alright. Well, we'll build a spy network here anyway. That's really cool, Midrin. I think actually, in that case, I definitely recommend Jess's. I definitely recommend Jess's cast. I mean, one of the things that I've always loved about being able to discuss literature or something like that is, I know Jess will tell you I'm very stubborn, but it's actually quite rewarding to have a different perspective given on something like that. And usually, Jess and I think, get along well enough on the important things so that when we have disagreements on the finer points. It's usually very collegial. So, oops, I have an opportunity now. Okay, so looks like the fight. Oh, damn it. Okay, I'm actually gonna have to make my move. Oh God. Okay, so the whole plan. So it looks like it was actually my so my liege definitely. Definitely pulled an upset on that one. I didn't think he was going to be able to take the. I didn't think he was going to be able to take that that whole duchy. So that was some bad planning on my part. What the original plan was, the wife that I married. The intention was to basically use her claim to be able to claim the duchy of Lower Lorraine for myself. If I had a casus belli, I would actually try and take it right now. Unfortunately, I don't. So this is going to be a bit of a bummer. So let's see if we can marry into... Let's see if I can betroth. So I've got a newborn. What do I have in my family? This is a tricky problem, so I can try Radbot or Alwa. I think I'm actually going to go for Alwa here, just because the ages are a little bit closer. It still gives me my options. Doesn't want to do it. Desires a better non-aggression pact. I would prefer a matrilineal marriage. Still not going to pull it off. Alright. Well... Oh, right, I'm already trying to kill one guy. How badly do I want this guy dead? I feel like I should try and kill my, my liege. Fairly early on. Yeah, Midrin, I mean, there's different ways to play this game, but I think the game, especially recently, so this game used to be a little bit more capable in terms of like blobbing out and sort of steamrolling over things, but especially the fact that the council can give you sort of a decision in terms of what you want to, or can make some calls in terms of what you're allowed to do. I actually think that this game has definitely made it a little bit more scheming oriented. I think the biggest problem that I have right now is if I try and neutralize the threat to me right now, in the form of the attempt to kill me. It looks like this guy is just a rival, so you know what? Oh, can I not seduce her? Oh, she already tried to. I think I already tried to seduce her. Okay. So I'm gonna seduce Bona. Oh, hang on. She's a relative. I guess I can't. Yeah, why not? Distant relative. I've decided to seduce my own half-sister Bona. The sheer taboo is thrilling, but the scandal, by Jesus, the scandal would be epic. Well, she doesn't like me too much, and I do kind of want somebody on the inside to kill my my liege, so the risk makes it even more exciting. Alright, next up, we will actually switch our plot to kill my liege. And I will move my spy master accordingly. Oop, so I gotta wait till November before I can do that. Hey, Peppers. Sorry I missed you a little bit before. I'm actually glad that you wanted to check out. Oop, the response from Duchess Bona of Upper Lorraine wasn't quite what I expected. Apparently, I am to stay away forever. Oops. Oh well. Still gonna try and kill my my liege. Let's try and find another object of seduction, though. Most of CK2 is to be taboo if you go by today's standards. Absolutely. Now, Peppers, would you say you're more of somebody who kind of likes CK2 and you just like watching people play it, or are you sort of new to CK2? I think it was, you said you were new, but I was taking that as being new to the stream. Hugo has arrested an armed man with a ragged armor and a spotty horse. He says that the man claims to be a hedge knight, but clearly he does not believe these statements. So I can lose 25%. Oh, he loses 25 prestige, and I gain 10 piety.
I would never want to belong to
Little Wing, thank you very much for that follow. Fair enough, Peppers. Let's get the 10 piety. Just on a long trade wide. Excellent. All right. Still no babies. My steward Whiteo has collected a special tithe and met. So this is nice in the end. If I am going to try and steal any kind of title, I'm going to need to finance mercenaries for this. One of the reasons why I tried to seduce a sort of a family member was because I'm looking to, I'm actually looking to try and bring some people in on the, thanks Peppers. I'm actually trying to bring in some more members of the, of his court into this, this plot. I can also add my spy master to it. My spy master is actually fairly decent at, his job, so. My steward was wounded by angry peasants while collecting a tithe and mets. So we've got a few things that are going on right now. One of the big things about Crusader Kings is that it can... it seems that Gerhard von Sluppenberg, the spy master of Duke Gerhard II, oh, this is bad, was sent to Lorraine to investigate rumors of a plot. Should maybe be silenced before he finds out about my plot to kill Duke Gerhard II of Upper Lorraine. Fortunately, I have a slightly higher... My spy master has a slightly higher intrigue, but I have a feeling this is going to be bad for me, so that might be necessary. Let's see if we actually succeed. Well, he's still alive, so I'm going to guess that's a big no. So we were mentioning a little bit earlier about this new DLC. One of the best things about the DLC is the way it handles waiting around. I know definitely as a count, it can be a little difficult to play the game just because everybody around you is quite a bit stronger. In the end, what we're going to have to deal with my fairly strong liege, his maximum... Actually, yes, he's got about another... Another 1,000. I might not even be able to hire enough mercenaries to take this guy on. There is no Germany, Satan. I wonder if I'm able to maybe get a betrothal with the lesser daughter. Alright. Again, Elwha will be the choice here. Nope, still wants a better non-aggression pact. And matrilineal isn't enough to pull it over the edge. I mean, matrilineal would screw it for me anyway, but... But yeah, so joining a society is actually a really good way to sort of have some things to do in between the waiting. I mean, obviously you also have this speed, so what I kind of do, the thing that I love the most about Crusader Kings is it's a game where you sort of keep your pieces, you kind of put all your pieces on the table, you sort of work out what you want to do, what your overall goal is. And of course, this playthrough, you want to try and corrupt as much of the Holy Roman Empire as possible. That means one thing I got to do is start sinning. Actually, let's do something crazy and sleep with the king's wife. I should bring all my seduction skills to bear on Kaiserin Clementina until I have her wrapped around my finger. She will be mine. She's got the lover's pox and is gluttonous. Sounds like a fine subject for seduction. Clementina has not responded to the love letter that I left on her pillow. I won't give up just yet. But yeah, so one of the things that's fun about this one is unlike... so actually, there's a couple things that I would say. The most common comparison that I get for this game from most people who see it for the first time is they say, oh, so it's a little bit like Civilization, because of course history is its subject. I've got a child who needs some education, so... One great quality of life improvement that they added in here was sort of showing you what traits your character has that will adjust, that kind of adjust the modifiers on their education. So looks like she's either built for martial or intrigue, and I think intrigue is probably going to be a little more helpful, so we'll set her up with that. But one of the differences here is that Civilization sort of is built to be almost like a board game, right? So you have everybody kind of starts off in roughly an equal starting position, and it is just as likely that Egypt will sort of continue on, you know, indefinitely as it is for the United States. Whereas, of course, there were several things in history that sort of made it, if not inevitable, then at least... You know, you can sort of see why things fell apart. So a great example, when we were allowed to read, well, we were never allowed, but when we were reading the Ernst Gombrich history book, we of course talked about how after Charlemagne, the Holy Roman Empire split into 3 parts, and so that can happen inside this game as well. And so basically, you know, a count is not going to have the same opportunities as an emperor. That makes sense. And again, that's a little bit why this game maybe doesn't necessarily have a clearly defined sort of objective. It definitely has an end state. Basically, the fall of Constantinople is when the clock for the game ends, unless, of course, you mod it. But basically here, one of the other things that's really interesting about this one is that this game is played over generations. So unlike a turn-based game, I mean, this game's pausable real-time, so it can be turn-based. And you notice that when I describe things or when I read flavor text, you know, the action sort of stops. But I think one of the things that is that's kind of fun about this one is that you get a picture of where you are, you get an idea about what you want to do. D. Sisek, thank you very much for that follow. But basically, what makes this game so interesting is that you can take stock of your position and you put a few irons in the fire and you sort of watch these things play out over years. It's why you have the speed modifiers, because obviously you don't want to be sitting at like the slowest speed and waiting for something to happen. A really common one when people recommend to start as a count is like, well, why are there no casus bellis coming up? It's like, that's just what happens when you're a count. You don't have very good chancellors and you don't have very good claims. It's like Civilization if every turn took 6 hours. Hopefully it's not that bad. But. All right, I managed to chance upon Clementina alone in the kitchen when she came down for her usual late snack. We've talked and laughed for hours, and I can tell the attraction is growing. Hopefully I've read her correctly, and I lean in to whisper in her ear. Now, I actually don't have a very good relationship with her right now. Now, she's got a high intrigue, so I could make a lewd suggestion, and I'm going to guess that the lover's pox is probably a nice... she's also brave, so I think probably that's my best bet. Love poetry would probably be for somebody with a higher learning. These are just what I'm guessing. I mean, I'm sure there's a way you can go into the scripts for the game and sort of see what these things are, but that's not really a fun way to play it. If you play it a little more role play, it's nice. And then I can confess my love, but these do not seem like the traits of a naive romantic, so we'll go for broke and make a lewd suggestion. My response from Kaiserin Clementina of the Holy Roman Empire wasn't quite what I expected. I am apparently to stay away forever. Well, this guy is definitely not his dad. His dad wrote everything that came into view, so... Alright, let's see if I can maybe get a little bit closer to home. And let's see who's close to... Alright, so are there any miladies? Oh my god, Bona is a spy master. This is going to be a problem. Sophie. Ah, interesting. Okay, so apparently there is a claim on Upper Lorraine. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's any way I can... Is there a betrothal that I can make, maybe? Oh, wild. I didn't need to assassinate him. Cool. I'll bring all my seduction skills to bear on Sophie until I have her wrapped around my little finger. Doesn't really matter anymore, though, because... Dad is dead. And it looks like my niece is the next in line, so we know what to do. We know to kill the wee one. If we can't marry him, we'll get rid of them through other means. Now there are some ways, so notice here when you've got the sort of the hand that sort of stayed, you can actually buy these people off. If you can try and get them a little bit more, usually you can do something like send them a gift. So for 15 it'll increase their opinion of me by 58. In this case I actually want to save my pennies because in the end I am still going to need to sort of assert my claim. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's right. Sorry. I completely forgot. So this is who currently owns it. So I have two options, actually. I can... So there's my half-sister who currently isn't married. Or my wife. I think the wife is the better call. And the council doesn't want to do this. Why? We're already busy fighting another war. The hell we are. Okay, let's give this a couple of moments. I think what I'm going to do here is hire a mercenary army, and we will claim Lorraine for our own. So this is nice, actually. We're going to be able to... actually going to be able to show you some combat. Alright. So I think I need more than a tie. But here's what we're going to do. So first thing that we're going to do for setting up this war. He's got 2.5k troops. Doesn't really have enough gold for a... doesn't really have enough gold for mercenaries, and doesn't have any particular pacts. So here's basically what we're going to try and accomplish with this. I get my wife to inherit the kingdom. I sire, you know, a kid, hopefully. In fact, I'll even... Oh god, that's only 50... Well, whatever. We'll toss her some money to make her like me more. Hopefully she'll, you know, she'll cozy up. So my current army is not really enough to pull this off. But because we've been saving up our money for an eventuality like this, we can hire mercenaries. So you can see even some inexpensive ones. Like, let's look for something around the 150 mark. We've got 1905. Well, that's not too far off from what she can actually bring up. And then we add that to our existing totals and we'll be able to handle it. So what we will do is we're going to seize the Duchy of Lorraine, of Lower Lorraine, which I don't know if that's an individual holding. Metz is in Lower Lorraine. Okay, so that'll be good for us. So we start, declare war. I am going to claim it for my wife. Now again, we don't have a child yet, so I'm taking a little bit of a risk on this. Next step, again, I'm kind of going into some very specific detail here, mostly just because I know there's a few people who are new to the game, and I'm sort of trying to explain the thought process. I could just go against the council with the act of, you know, of tyranny, but I can actually buy somebody off. So the way I normally try and buy somebody off is just to take a look at the ages of my councilors. So we've got a 59-year-old, 40-year-old, 46, and 48. And who's in favor of war again? So my spy master, the oldest one, unfortunately. So I'm basically going to get a, I'm going to buy a favor from, ooh, I don't want to spend money on it. Request council support. So I don't think the tie is going to be enough. I think I actually need to bring one other person online. I might have even considered somebody with a higher diplomacy. But we'll see if that pays off. And basically what I want to do is, because this ruler is so young, I want to try and avoid any... I made sure to attend a minor event in Nancy in hopes of seducing Sophie, but despite my best attempts, she remains unimpressed. I need more practice. So the army's growing. The church wants to organize a miracle play for a local saint in our domain. They feel that it should fall on our shoulders to pay for it. I can say for the glory of God, 640 out of the treasury, or if the church wants it, they'll have to pay for it. Well, he's on my council, and I kind of want him to like me, so we pay up. My liege, peace be with you. I will support you in the council, so let's see if we can get away with this. Alright, so he actually convinced somebody else to come along. So, again, we're doing this for our wife. So, here's a little bit about how the decision process works. Now, again, there's some other arguments that you can make, right? She's one, so there's probably about 15 years worth of events that can occur that maybe don't require me to, require me to go to war right now. But I sort of want to, I kind of want to take advantage of this right now. You can declare war without majority support, but it's viewed as an act of tyranny, which will cause my vassals' opinion of me to fall down, and that's going to cause problems later on. So in this case, I thought the trade-off of having an older character owe me a favor, or I'm sorry, me owing a character a favor, an older character a favor, would be preferable to sort of having everybody across the board dislike me. So think a little bit about what our thought process was here, right? This all got set in place. Now, it didn't work out the way that we planned, but we married this character so that we could have, hey, Kodiak Samurai, long time no see. Great to see you again. So we married this character for their claim on this duchy, and we actually thought that we lost it, but as it turns out, because of the death, we're able to claim it now. Now, we don't have enough of an army. So we said, okay, we're going to declare war, and we made sure that we had enough of a treasury to be able to take advantage of this. We had another impediment in the form of the council, and again, I wasn't willing to give up the sort of the reputational loss from going against my council, so I sort of did a trade-off and got my pragmatist counselor to, I owe them a favor, basically. So the last step is now going to be that I'm going to declare war in the name of my wife, and the next priority is going to be that I need to get a kid, and I need to get a kid fast. Of course, the first thing that we're going to do is raise our mercenaries. So, preferably the ones that cost the least each round. We've got the Saxon band, but the Finnish band costs less. Yeah, we'll go for the Finnish band. Finnish band? We're just getting started. All right. So we're going to hold off a little bit. We're just going to, again, I have nothing to fear from their army, even if they all kind of combine together. They're at full morale, whereas I'm not. So I'm going to take the opportunity to sort of build up my my individual morale. I'm actually going to back off from my liege. I also I should actually appoint a commander. We don't have a lot of very good commanders, to be completely honest, but the Finnish band should also come with a... Alright, so Kali and... yeah, why not? Alright, we'll say there's no rush. So what we're going to be doing right now is we're actually going to be holding off specifically so that we can get strong enough. Again, I don't want them to come crashing in. Even though I sort of outnumber them, it's very easy for the morale to go against me, especially with these weak commanders on the flanks. Now, I don't want them to be able to siege down Metz, so I have basically one bullet to fire on this. And if I fail, I'm dead, basically. One other important thing too is I am actually going to be giving up a little bit of an advantage, because if they're attacking, they actually cross, it looks like they cross a body of water. That's why I moved into this territory, so that I don't get the penalty of crossing a body of water. One of the things that I would also tend to do I would actually let them siege down this territory, and they actually have to leave some of their troops as sort of a garrison. I don't have that option, unfortunately, because again, if they take this holding, then I'm dead. There's no recovering from that. So we're gonna wait until we're at full strength, and then we're gonna go crashing in, and hopefully this strong center will be enough to win the day. My vassals are getting a little annoyed at having the levies raised, but that's going to be one of those things. Alright, it's possible I could start moving now, but we're going to wait until that bar is complete. There's absolutely no red whatsoever in there. I don't know if there's another way of measuring the... Oh, it's right here. So yeah, we're at 96.7. Again, I don't want to leave anything to chance here, and we have, we still got some health left on the siege, so. Now, Elwa, who I was sort of grooming to try and... Radbot has finished his education in the ways of intrigue. I notice with pride that he's attained nothing less than masterful level of knowledge. Excellent. Okay, so let's marry him off to... Ooh, Princess of France. Alright. Let's make him... Give him pride. Alright, we make our move. And we're going to keep it on slow so you can see the combat. To the heroic Falmar, may you live in harmony and contentment. I've decided to accept the suggestion of a betrothal between Radbot and Princess Amalie. Again, unlikely we'll actually gain any titles in France out of this, but you never know, and it certainly doesn't hurt to have some powerful friends. All right. So here's what we're working at. The center is going great. The flanks are a little bit of a cause for concern, but hopefully we wrap them up in the center in enough time to be able to help the right flank. Right flank is actually in a lot of trouble. They've got a better commander there. The left-hand side is generally okay. So the idea is we want to break their center before my right breaks, and then these guys are going to be taking on each other. But I'm pretty sure that we'll win this one. As soon as we take the center, we've got it. And of course, these are bought lives, so we don't need to worry so much about the fact that, you know, the mercenaries get cheaper when there aren't as many of them. All right. We win. All right, so some points. We've got a big change in war score from that, 21%. We gained some prestige for the battle. We lost 419 people in exchange for their 838, and then they do what is known as a shattered retreat. So we are now going to go, actually we're going to take their capital, because one, they're going to have to move through us to go back to Metz, but also because one of the ways that war score works is if you take the personal holdings of the sort of your opponent, then that actually does more sort of damage to them. And of course now we've got a much bigger margin in terms of our in terms of the difference between our armies. So the game wasn't always like this. The game would actually the way it worked previously was that you could actually follow an army basically to the ends of the earth. I want to see what happens in Bourgogne, actually. I might do another attack. Okay, so it looks like they are trying to circle around me. So August 23rd, I can get there August 26th, too late. So they're gonna head to Sundgau? Sundgau, okay. So we're actually gonna give up trying to siege that, just so that we can cut them off. All right, and now we go after them. So we arrive on the 27th. Again, we're gonna have a disadvantage because we're crossing a river. But I really do want to make sure that they don't have any possibility of coming back after me, so it's a risk I'm willing to take here. And it's a costly one, but I think we're still going to be able to take this. Their right side's crumbling, their center's crumbling. Even though we're losing the left, we just far outnumber them in the center, so... So as you can see, I sort of changed my strategy there. That's mostly just so I can continue to whittle down their numbers. I want to make it so that they're not strong enough to lay siege to Metz, remembering that if you take everything of someone's holdings, it's game over. You lose that war no matter what. So in this situation, I'm kind of continuing to bully their armies. If I can take territory, that's great. But I want to make sure Metz currently has a garrison of 1052, so they might be able to lay siege to this, but I'm actually willing to... I think I'm going to wait and see what happens. If they try to take Metz, then I'm just going to move north and try and take them. But like I said, your war score is actually going to go up the most if you take kind of their personal holdings. Also, important thing to keep in mind is that I'm bleeding money for this war, so I need to... I definitely need to wrap things up pretty quickly, otherwise I'm not going to have enough soldiers to be able to take their holdings. So we'll see if they're able to siege down Metz. If they are, then we do one last battle. And if they're not able to siege down Metz, then we just continue to siege down Lorraine and basically take all of the personal holdings of our opponent. And we will be on path to becoming Duke. Excellent, so Wido collected a special tithe in Metz, exactly when I needed that, so that gives me another month of mercenaries. I'm really glad I bought this new music DLC. How you doing, Pie of Reckoning? So as you can see, these battles are working generally the same. The center's always crumbling. We actually did very well on the right flank this time, though. My experience in matters of war has increased, and there will be many things that you did differently in future battles. What will I focus on? I can focus on the attack. So aggressive leader will give me bonuses to pursuit, damage, but minus to defense. I can focus on defense, which will give me a bonus to defense at an expense for attack. I can learn to inspire. I will improve morale, defense, and damage. Or I can experiment with tactics, which will increase my experimentality. I think I'll actually do learn to inspire. So, I believe I keep getting these messages because I'm currently occupied with a war. All right. So now we siege down Lorraine. There's nothing they can do about... Hello, Ace. How you doing tonight? So now we claim our prize. Education to do. So this is Kremhild, who also has a claim on the Duchy of Lorraine, so we'll definitely put her on the path for diplomacy. We might actually even marry her within the family just so that we can keep another... Oh wait, that one won't pass on to... That one won't pass on to her son though, so... I am Pie of Reckoning. So it says that it's a revolt. What it actually is, my wife has a claim on the duchy that my liege has. So, totally above board. Engeltraud. We will also teach her etiquette, because a woman should know her place. All right. So betrothed can marry. Princess Emily and Duke Redbot are getting married. We can collect a royal aid duty to pay for the ceremonies. As much as I'd love to get the extra prestige, in this case, I do need to make the money work. Remember when we had 400 gold? This is why I was hoarding so much. Okay. I think we laid claim to one holding, so they've recovered a bit of their forces. We need to stop them from taking Metz. Again, really important that we keep them from being able to siege down my county, because I only have one of them. But the nice thing is the war score will keep going up as I continue to beat them on the battlefield. So I think we'll take Lorraine. It's not obvious where I should go next, actually. I love the fact that there's so many guys named the Wicked that that are joining the College of Cardinals. My liege's council has been discontent for 1 month and will be until the 5th of February. All right. Again, I think because I'm in war, that's why it keeps giving me those messages about not being able to get it on. But it's fine. Hopefully my... Come on, wife! Religious control mandate law. I kind of ignore what's going on in the Holy Roman Empire right now just because I'm a little too focused on my acquisition. So it seems like right now our playthrough has been thrown for a little bit of a loop. I'm not successfully becoming a Satanist, but I am achieving the goal of expanding my territory. Alright. I'm a little tempted to just run up and chase these guys right now. The bishopric shouldn't be... Oop. My liege Kaiser Engelbert has decided to rescind the decree calling for the expulsion of all Jews. They are now once more permitted to live and work within the borders of the realm. That's actually really dangerous for me because my liege might be able to hire some mercenaries. So we're going to give up assaulting the bishopric, and we're actually going to whittle away their... We're going to whittle away their forces again. Oh, we're losing somehow. That was a really close one, but... Alright. Got me what I needed. But I am definitely going to need to... I'm definitely going to need to be careful. How you doing, El Canoe? Guys, I always keep talking about my 3 favorite streamers. We had Johnny Big Time and Jesse Cole's shoutout, and now I've got El Canoe. For those of you who want to know about El Canoe, he would be in this part of the map. El Canoe is a French streamer who I got to know from sort of wanting to check out Satellite Rain. He did an amazing job casting that game, so much so that I bought the game, and this was after thinking that it looked very uninteresting after seeing some English casters playing it. He's a guy who just absolutely perfectly communicates a love of gaming. There is nothing that you could really... There's really nothing that you could do but watch it and understand that whatever game is being played is getting the absolute fairest treatment they could ever ask for in terms of kind of the coverage. Any game developer who wants to kind of, you know, show off a game on a stream, I think would do a wonderful job, you know, giving a copy to El Canoe. He is an absolute, you know, is an absolute pleasure to watch. He's got a tremendous sense of comedy. Even like in terms of things like physical comedy and such, he's really got a gift for just entertaining, and it's always a pleasure to have him in here. And he's actually, maybe one thing that's worth mentioning, and probably more of a character thing, like we were saying, it's usually a question in terms of the personality behind a stream. Even though I am an English-speaking caster, El Canoe has been incredibly generous with his support. When he's streaming to his, you know, his French-speaking cast, I might actually need to borrow money because they're really recovering their troops. Where are these troops coming from, actually? Just natural levies. That's horrifying. I really want to finish this siege, but I might have actually... Oh, good, we got a daughter. Oh, no we didn't. All right. Just a second, guys. Let's we gotta get to Metz. 16th May, 13th May, drat. Okay. Again, I blew it. Oh god, they're going to Lorraine.
A handful stay.
We arrive at the same time.
Only one looks back.
I think we're losing. We're losing bad.
Spartans!
Holy crap.
Ready your breakfast and eat hearty. But tonight, we dine in hell!
Alright, well, that was a little too late. Thanks, YouTube. Anyways, guys, so El Canu, I kind of screwed up his shout-out by trying to quote Playgirl, the movie. El Canu's a really outstanding caster, and like I said, I think character says a lot. And he... like I said, it's one thing for me to shout out somebody like Johnny Big Time or Jesse Quill, because I know they have a primarily English-speaking audience, and as a result, they're maybe going to be able to sort of connect with my my material, and I sort of know there's a bit of reciprocation. And I think one of the big things about El Canu is he's showed me far more. He sort of showed me far more sort of generosity than I think I ever really can or have shown him. And I'm really not in a position to be able to repay it in the way that's really deserving. So I think, you know, if nothing else, that really kind of communicates what sort of person El Canu is. And I'm really happy not just to have him, you know, hang out in the chat, or not just to have him as a something that I can watch, but I'm actually really happy to have him in the chat too, because he's always such a pleasure. So, anyways, I take a good look at myself and thought about my weaknesses and strengths, and after many hours of soul searching, I realized I have nothing to be ashamed of. Hopefully I got pride. I did not. Alright, so I might be able to take Loren again. Yeah. Alright. Fortunately, we got Carla. Did we have somebody who's no, it's still 6. So. Not crazy about doing this, but again, I don't want to give up the gains that we've already made. So, young Emma has finished her education in the ways of intrigue. It is evident that she excelled in her studies. She is a half-sister. Okay. Yes, but what does he have? Sicily, not really likely. I don't really like any of these options. Ugh, not doing that. Portuguese? Sure. At least I'll get the prestige bonus. It's definitely taking longer than I had anticipated. We might actually be at a point where we can't afford these mercenaries anymore. If that happens, I will borrow from the Jewry. But I was really hoping we could get by without doing that. So it looks like the majority of the gains have actually been coming from, in terms of recovering the military, has been coming from here, and they also have a couple of weaker holdings, so we'll be able to hang on to that. Definitely can't enforce demands at 50%, but they would take a white piece. They can go to hell. And yeah, I think we just have to... We have to live with this very difficult, this very difficult war. The good news is, as long as we hang out here, we're actually going to keep them from being able to. All right, now this weirds me out that they're gaining troops like that. Young Kremhild always seems willing to be willing to share. She should get out more and talk to people. Gregarious isn't a bad trait to have. And the young will be as they are, and she becomes charitable. Well, she's definitely not going to become a spy master. We'll make her gregarious. I'm genuinely confused as to whether or not I should go from... I should keep sieging down a county, or I should pick on that stack again. I have to cross a river for it, but I have twice their numbers, so if there's any time to do it, it's now. We'll maybe see what their numbers look like at the end. Yeah, it keeps going up. Alright, we'll siege this down and then we'll go bully them in Lorraine. But I have a feeling this means that I'm gonna have to pay up. Although we'll probably get a little bit of money from the holding. Oh, looks like they lost their manpower. Maybe they tried assaulting it, or maybe I've been ignoring these. 15, that gives me another month. All right. Whoa! Oh, fuck. Okay, well, fortunately we didn't perish. I have no idea why it completely relinquished, why my mercenary commander completely relinquished command, but there you go. Now we got 100%. Because I didn't notice. Well, anyways. Plan worked. All right, so I think the idea here... Wait a minute. So why am I going into hiding? Oh, there we go. I screwed up. Alright, I still want to kill her because my family members can make some claims. She's also actually going to be quite strong and will probably want her title back, so... And there's not a whole lot I can do about this guy, unfortunately. Yeah, Radbot is actually doing a good job of getting ready to kill me, so... Dear husband, blessings on you and your house. I would like to give you a seat on my council and therefore offer you the title of Spy Master. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna be terrible Spy Master, but... Alright. Please give me a baby. Actually, Kremhild, Radbot's already got a wife, unfortunately, so I'm not crazy about this, but let's get Alwa to marry her. It's a 6-year difference, but it's a nice way of kind of it's a nice way of kind of giving myself a bit of an insurance policy. Alright, Sophie. Main reason why I was trying to seduce her was so that I could improve my my attempt to kill the child. Again, not crazy about my prospects given my my opinion. Also, she does have the lover's pox, and now that I'm actually trying to get a kid, maybe not the best time to be doing something like this, but we're committed, so make a lewd suggestion. Sophie backed away from me, blushing and stammering something about being sorry before rushing off. The virtue is strong with this one. Let's keep trying. Okay, so one of the plots against me is dead, which is good. There's really nothing I can do about this guy, and I don't think, yeah, she, for whatever reason, really wants to kill my heir. Although I'm not too sorry about that if it means that I get to marry into the duchy title. Alright. We'll say let our love grow just so I can get the higher value. Gottfried von Metz died a natural death. So all the... god damn it, this morning I woke up with a painful itch. It seems I've contracted the lover's pox. Well, that... I only got myself to blame on that one. Fate smiles upon me. My wife, Heilweiva, is pregnant. Well... attaboy. Now I have more reasons to embrace Satanism when I can. So what, I suppose the next step is, what do we want to, decided to offer me the position of commander. Sure, why not? Suppose the big question now is, like, what's the next,
I would never want to belong to any club.
Cesaria Zero, thank you very much for that follow. Yeah, Peppers. I mean, I like playing, I'm not very good at role-playing, so, you know, I tend to play people pretty close to my real-life persona. Yeah, maybe it's not a bad time to... I did promise I was going to keep on this low speed. So let's talk a little bit about what the next steps are. So we've done... I've actually never been able to achieve something like this before, so this is going to be a little bit of uncharted territory for me here. But what we did was we married into a claim on a duchy which I wanted, and we haven't secured the position yet. We actually need to have a kid for that. But that's going to be on the way, and then I want to make sure that I sort of hang on to that kid. I definitely don't want them to die, and ideally we'll pump out a few more with the wife. But basically, we exhausted a lot in order to try and take that title. So what we're going to be doing now is sort of a bit of a rebuilding. We're going to sort of build up the treasury again. Also, of course, the vassals are angry at having the levies raised for so long, so it doesn't hurt to have that. We've got a couple of loose ends to tie up in the form of seeing if we can finish off this this particular plot. It looks like the fact that I am a lover of this woman was not enough to convince her to go against the liege. I'm really curious what it would take me to get this guy on side. He probably has a pretty... yeah, he's got a high opinion of her, so maybe I could use my... I think I'm actually going to use my Chancellor to do that. Have I gotten the weapon event yet? I have not, Pie of Reckoning. So I'm going to try an outside chance on this, because the Spy Master will be able to wipe her out right away. The assassins spread to Syria. The Hashashin, the elusive order of assassins, have expanded their influence into Syria. A branch of their sect has established itself in a mountain fortress of Masyaf, from where they control the surrounding countryside. All across the Holy Land, the assassins are now hunting those they see as obstacles to their obscure plans. Perhaps these Hashashin should be taken seriously. We were playing Assassin's Creed Revelations last cast. All right, so I guess this guy will be in the court. All right, a daughter was born to Radbot. That is my heir, not my child. And what we're going to do now is we're actually going to sow discontent with my chancellor. Now, again, the chances of this working are pretty slim because I don't have very many good diplomats. But the idea here is I'm trying to drive a wedge between this child and her spy master, because if I'm able to get her killed, then it's going to pass on to another member of my bloodline. And so as a result, we kind of have some more claims. It's, like I said, it's a bit of an outside chance because my chancellor is not very good, but definitely it's a better task than trying to say, take... I mean, I had my chancellor here trying to take the title. Obviously, we don't need the duchy anymore. If we're going to be trying to claim any titles, it would be, Trier, probably. Maybe Pfalz. I think Trier is the weaker of the two holdings, though. But again, what we're really waiting for is this pregnancy to finish, specifically so I can sort of secure the bloodline and actually have all these passed down. And of course, I believe we're still in Gavelkind succession. So we are going to have a little bit of difficulty in terms of, agnatic, cognatic, Gavelkind. So we are also going to have a little bit of difficulty in terms of agnatic elective in the Holy Roman Empire. Oh, but Lower Lorraine is primogeniture. Interesting. Okay, we should actually try and implement these new succession laws then. There's a new goal for me. Young Kriemhild has finished her education in diplomacy. It is evident that she's excelled in her studies. This pleases me. No, she just waits to marry the husband. See, I actually I neglected to notice that I had... new heir. If my character dies, you will now play as Rudolf von Metz. Okay. Son was born to Duke Volmar the Chaste. Where the hell did he get that title from? And Duchess Heilwiva, the usurper named Rudolf. The church wants me to organize a miracle play for a local saint in Ardemen. I'm okay getting a little bit of extra piety from that, but I really do need to build up my my wealth. Is influenced negatively by my actions, yeah. Maybe a bit of a recap. So like I said, we're what are the irons that we have in the fire, like I was talking about before? Well, we're rebuilding our wealth, and that's just going to happen naturally over time. We've already got the steward sort of collecting taxes where I need them to. I want to sort of tie up the loose end in terms of killing this individual. I do have some time for that. I'm at 53% plot power. It doesn't seem like there are a lot of opportunities for me to do better, but on the odd chance that that I can, I am actually trying to drive a wedge between the spy master and the Lord by sending the Chancellor off. Again, very unlikely, but it doesn't hurt to make the effort. Apparently, I could use Kriemhild to try and usurp the title. Well, that's exciting. Lucky for me, this is all going to be heading towards Rudolf. Now, there is a bit of a danger. As much as I would love to only have the one and kind of not have the fact that there are different succession laws between the different areas, I am actually going to keep trying to have more babies. I mean, there's not a whole lot that I can really do. It's still groom and heir is the objective. The only other difference I might do is take a family focus. But in this case here, I've kind of got all that I can do about Lorraine right now. We already talked about the treasury, and then as far as the laws of Metz are concerned, the first thing that I need to do would be, I'll actually just take a quick look at the rules here. So we have to reign for 10 years. We meet the one of these can be true. Now it says Holy Roman Empire, one of these must be true, has high or absolute crown authority. Now, I know, so we're in late feudal administration, so can we do seniority? Alwa is incapable because he has the flu. Alright. So he would be good at intrigue, save for the fact... Ah, excellent. My wife is pregnant again. I think we'll go on Marshall just because he's rowdy, otherwise he would have been good for intrigue, but... Does my wife have the pox? Nope. Actually might help to take a look at when I gain the title. So 1091. So in this case, I would need to... Actually, we're getting close to 10 years. That can't be right. We haven't been holding this for 10 years. Huh. Did we really go through 10 years of gameplay? The Pope sent an emissary with a peculiar request. The emissary explains that the clergy has been very involved with the hospital in Metz as of late. As such, fair compensation is expected to be paid. I can say it is the will of the Blessed Virgin, and I lose 14 wealth to the Pope in exchange for 20 piety, or I think not, and the Pope doesn't like me. You know what? I want the money, and this Pope is 61 years old, so he probably is not going to be mad at me for too long. I've got room for a new Chancellor. Well, I mean, the bonus is that I've got... You know what? Even though this guy is loyal, let's do a quick second. I've never had luck bringing a noble into... because there's steward. Maybe a debutante? Yeah. She's a pretty face. Yeah, I think I'm screwed for finding Chancellors. Again, we'll try and sow discord, but it's even less likely with this guy, so. Now, one of the things that weirds me out a little bit when we do primogeniture, when it says in the Holy Roman Empire you need to have high crown authority or absolute crown authority. Crown authority has gone away. And I thought for a long time that it was administration that did that. All right. Well, my liege isn't gonna, so... She, her laws already have primogeniture. I mean, it's not affecting me right now because I don't have multiple kids, but it's just weird that, it's just weird that we have the same administration and, yeah, it's a little odd to me that there's just this this alignment in terms of the laws. I mean, the problem for me is that the tooltips still have the old system in place of the high and absolute crown authority. Daughter was born to Duke Fulmore and Duchess. Okay, so daughter's also good because the title's not going to be split up with her, so more good news for us. But yeah, so the tooltip is basically the old way of the game used to work. So I'm just a little curious in terms of how the new one's supposed to work. Unfortunately, when I looked at it on the wiki, it didn't seem to like it. It also used the old convention, so. Oh, and apparently we can embrace primogeniture, so... Thanks a lot, D-Sonic. A pleasure to have you in here. You're very quiet tonight, actually, so thanks a lot for stopping by. I had no idea you were here, but I really appreciate the concurrent view as always. All right. This is actually turning out to be a fairly decent little playthrough tonight. So, next thing, sort of next step on our path to world conquest. Now, I suppose the big question I should have is, do I want to consider stripping ruler imprisonment? So Hugo, Guido, and... Stop backing the plot. Oh, hello. I didn't notice the kid died. I thought I had a... This is actually going to be a little tricky. I'm trying to think of who I can... I really want to keep this in the bloodline, so either I need to do a matrilineal marriage, or... So she's 8. An 8-year difference, so when my kid is 16... You know what? Screw it. Rudolph will marry Ilsa? No! Would prefer a matrilineal marriage, damn it. Huh. Alright, well, we definitely want to keep that in the family, so... Oh, wait a minute. She's a totally different character. Or she's a totally different dynasty. How did this work again? Oh, it was bonus kid. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry guys, I normally like to voice out my my reasoning there, but I felt there was something a little off. So that's really not... That isn't actually in the bloodline. Well, she is going to grow up with a strong claim, and she's actually going to have an army to back it up. He would have a claim on Lower Lorraine, so we actually just kick that problem down the road. So I think what we'll hold off. We're one way or the other we're gonna have to deal with the problem, but let's let's focus on something a little more important and kill my rival. I could, in theory, use my my Spy Master to sort of disrupt the plots, but I kind of want to be a little more aggressive than that, so we will... Oops. And is there anybody in the court I can try and seduce to make it more likely? I mean, possibly Gertrude, but if memory, if history is any indication, then it's probably not going to do anything. Apparently she rejected me at some point. It's so hard to keep track of these women. Yeah, and she doesn't have the lover's pox, so that's another bonus. Should bring all my seduction skills to bear on Girperga until I have her wrapped around my finger. She will be mine. One other thing I could try and do with this guy is sort of a martial style focus and challenge the other guy to a duel, but that may not turn out so well for me because I've got a low personal combat skill and I am a dullard. So maybe waiting until my heir is a little bit more capable. Alright, so I've got the option to spy on Free from Captivity, not quite enough. Duel, yeah, I think my duels usually are disastrous, just I generally agree, Virag, although the one thing I will say that I like about Crusader Kings is it's I've always enjoyed sort of the emergent stories that come out of it. So like, you know, the fact of the matter is like I had, you know, Aleister Crowley for a dad. Like he almost became the head of the Lucifer's Own faction. I mean, had every sin in the book. Wrote everything, as you can see, a lot of children. Ended a lunatic, possessed, wounded. But ultimately didn't actually achieve that much, and yet this guy, despite being a dullard, has actually very successfully installed his wife as the Duchess of Lower Lorraine, so that the son will wind up inheriting the kingdom, and is busy like seducing. So it's almost like the Forrest Gump of the Holy Roman Empire, where, you know, he's, you know, he may not be so bright, you know, he did get the lover's pox when he was trying to seduce someone to try and assassinate the target so he could get a claim, but you know, he got stuff done. It's those quiet ones you want to watch. I think, let's see if we can get more YouTube to fail to... what am I looking for?
It's the quiet ones you gotta watch. You know that one, huh? Every time you see a story about a serial killer on TV, what do? They bring on the neighbor. And the neighbor says, well, he was always very quiet. And someone in the room says, it's the quiet ones you gotta watch. This sounds to me like a very dangerous assumption. I will bet you anything that while you're watching a quiet one, a noisy one will fucking kill you. Suppose you're in a bar and one guy's sitting over on the side reading a book, not bothering anybody, another guy standing up at the front with a machete, banging it on the bar, saying, I'll kill the next motherfucker who comes in here. Who are you gonna watch? You're goddamn right.
Sorry about that, Vareg. As soon as you said that, I remembered that little bit. For those of you who don't know that man, that is George Carlin. And if you don't know who George Carlin is, I strongly recommend you do an internet search, because he is a fantastically gifted comedian. Very true, Vareg, very true. Although in fairness, my Satanist dad was never arrested for Satanism. Girpega has not responded to the love letter I had left on her pillow. I won't give up just yet. So, again, to follow up on the question of people asking me what I think, U.S. comedians don't always travel to the U.K. well. But I was going to say the U.K. has some magnificent comic talent on its own, though. I'm actually... So this will probably reveal some very negative character traits about myself, but I'm actually very fond of Frankie Boyle. Although my tastes are a little bit more for satire, so I definitely prefer Charlie Brooker, although he's not really a stand-up comedian. And actually, Jesse Quill has been visiting to the UK a little bit, and I've been able to share some. So I'm Canadian, but I kind of grew up watching a lot of old British comedies, like even including like really old stuff like Yes Minister and stuff like that, and Rumpole the Bailey. So I've been trying to share some of that with Jesse Quill, my mod, and I think, Jess, if I'm not mistaken, I've shown you Jimmy Carr. I don't think Frankie Boyle was a big hit. I know you really like Charlie Brooker. Oh, and The Thick of It. But again, those are more like funny things rather than stand-up comedy. Some carefully placed words where they can be easily overheard by notorious gossips can be more effective than a love letter. Kerperga must have gotten my message, for I found a lock of hair wrapped in silk with her personal seal in my chambers today. Ha, I shall have her. Al Murray. I don't even think I've seen that myself. All right, I'll check him out. I feel like Al Murray's been on a panel show. Pub landlord with a watch. Yeah. Yeah, Nguyen. I mean, I think the only thing about Carlin and Frankie Boyle is that, they know. They're pretty open about it, but like obviously that is a bridge too far for some, and I completely understand it. Just the thing is that I really do like comedy that kind of pushes the limit a little bit. So, but obviously I'm a little more selective in terms of who I share that with. He's good. It's just so insane to understand. Sometimes you like that alcoholic airplane. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did show you that short. I arranged for the scented love letter to be left on Kerperga's pillow in an attempt to woo her. Today I found the answering missive in the privy. It did not smell of roses. Temporary setback. Yeah, again, it's completely understandable, Varag 101. It's, I tend not to like comedians that rely on shock a whole lot. But I think one of the things, I think it's especially the fact that Boyle writes, he does a column in The Guardian, maybe not regularly, but pretty frequently, and he's very clearly thoughtful. Even if I don't necessarily agree with his politics, I definitely think that there's a little bit more than just pure shock that's going on in it, and so that's the sort of thing that I really like. I like people being able to kind of take sort of the basest kind of humor that you can get, and then mix that with a clever idea. But like I said, it's a style of comedy that I'm actually really careful in terms of who I show it to, because I mean, in the end, like the point of comedy is, you want to have a good time and enjoy it. And if I show somebody that kind of comedy and it makes them feel uncomfortable, then I've sort of failed. So he's an anarchist. Yeah. He's wondering, do you not check the find character menu to find a chancellor at all, or did I miss something? Hey, Rob Zig. Well, I mean, I did a point, but I didn't go seeking across the realm. I think what you might be talking about. Oh, sorry, 1 second, guys. Made sure to attend this minor event in Lindengren so I could seduce Kerpega. We've been dancing and conversing all night, and she's clearly responding to my advances. Let's leave her yearning for more, because I don't think 12 is going to be enough to seal the deal. So we could do search realm, an adult. Oh, all right. Apparently we're making our move. I managed to chance upon Kerpega alone in the kitchen when she came down for her usual late-night snack. We've talked and laughed for hours, and I can tell that the attraction is growing. Hoping I'd read her correctly, I lean in to whisper into her ear. So she's cynical, chaste, ambitious, fortune built. Oh, this is ugly. So I kind of feel like somebody who's chaste wouldn't respond to a lewd suggestion, and yet cynical suggests that confess my love is not the way to go for the naive romantic. So let's try quote love poetry. Gerpega backed away from me, blushing and stammering something about being sorry before rushing off. The virtue is strong in this one. Look at Bill Hicks, considered an anarchist comedian. These days he's held up as a hero by your generation. Oh. I don't feel like Confess the Love is the way to go here, though. Let's try it. We're just wrong. Probably just a purge. You know, we had a big problem with backseating when I did Assassin's Creed, so Jess is very good at kind of catching anything that seems like sort of an instruction to play the game a certain way. Please don't take that as any personal kind of an offense. It's actually something very specific that's come from me, because I actually had to end the cast early the last time something like that happened. So in that case, she probably just purged it, so I wouldn't see it myself. Fate smiles upon me. She's pregnant. Excellent. And we've got primogeniture, so I don't need to worry about the. Yeah, it's fair, Nuon. I mean, in this case. Oh, pardon me. Married 46. Are you a woman or a man? Jesse Quill. Nope. So yeah, Nuon, it's. I mean, one of the things that we run into here is that. I'm trying to come up with the best way to explain this. Especially for a game. So Jess has tried a round or two of Crusader Kings, and then a similar thing when I mod inside of her channel. But basically, there's usually a split second in which a mod is going to be able to make a decision along the lines of whether or not to do it. Because like in the end, basically, I react very negatively to being told how to play a given game. And when there's a matter of understanding or something along those lines, there's usually a short judgment call that's made. So I really do mean it when I say, please don't take that as any kind of a personal affront. Best way to usually handle it is just to speak privately with the mod or something like that. But don't worry too much about it. I sort of understand where you're coming from on that. So, but yeah, in any case, I am. I think I'm in the screen that you're seeing right now. But I remember the last time that I went through this, it wasn't too great in terms of. It wasn't too great in terms of options. All right. After I made another Courtier Cry, the third one in a short week, I felt a bit embarrassed. Is this who I really am? A cruel man who likes to hurt people? Well, it doesn't hurt to have a higher intrigue if I want to become. And my diplomacy's already in the toilet. Yeah. Who am I kidding? I love this. Well, okay, what's it gonna take to 15? I'm attending a festive outing with Gerpega. Unfortunately, half the... Oh, God. How you do, Zelapper? What was the start date of this playthrough? 1066, Varag. I was hoping for an earlier start with the Holy Roman Empire, but it seems like you can't actually go back by individual years. It seems like you can't go back by individual years any further than... like you can go ahead by like a month or a year, but apparently you can't go back into DLC years by the individuals, so... not my favorite feature, because I usually like to try to do the longest playthrough that I can, but I'll live with it. Alright, I'm attending a festive outing with Gerpega. Unfortunately, half the court is here, and I'm also having trouble getting any time alone with my amorous quarry. We'll flirt with her discreetly just so I can boost up the opinion, I think. Alright, now as far as my courtiers... Oh, despite never getting a chance to be alone with Gerpega, I do believe my winning personality has impressed her. Need a new plan? Alright, looks like it's going to cost me money each time. Actually, you know what? It's better for me to keep the guy who loves me on the council. That was dumb of me. I'll invite him to court, but I think I'm actually going to keep this Chancellor, because I actually don't need the Chancellor for anything right now. And I like the fact that he is a loyalist. That'll at least give me a plan B if I need diplomacy. 700 years is a long time. You're yet to complete a full playthrough at the earliest start date. I didn't own Charlemagne when I did this full playthrough, but I have done a full playthrough from 867. One of the drawbacks I run into, though, is the... I usually only do this once a week, so I've noticed that usually a new patch will come out before I complete the playthrough. So maybe this time, because we started in 1066, we might actually make through to the end. Every time I reject one desirable woman who throws herself in the way, another throws herself in my way. The others increase their efforts. Do they wish for me to burn in hell? I can say, I'll not give in to temptation, or God, please save my soul. No, no, sin! Please sin! Prestige or piety? Prestige or piety? Prestige. Yeah, Nyon, I mean, I tried to do my best on it. If the ultimatum is that you make the call over my mod, then I do think it's not a good fit. You're welcome to hang out if you'd like. Like I said, I don't see any reason to take it personally, but I understand if that doesn't work for you, and I wish you all the best for finding another Crusader King stream. To the heroic Duke Fulmar, your wisdom and mercy are legendary. I accept your gracious invitation and will join your court forthwith. When 700 years old you reach, look as good you will not. It's my favorite Spock quote. Managed to chance upon Gerpega alone in the kitchen when she came down for her usual late-night snack. Alright, screw it. Lewd suggestion time. God damn it. Virtue strong with this one. Another thing that I needed to figure out for this playthrough was... so basically, the next generation is going to have the ability to... Like, they're going to own 2 counties. They're going to have the title of Duke. Love poetry? What is a system chalk? So, Robzig, there's a series that I really like called System Shock. So it's just a play on that. It's like a Bioshock clone. You know what? Let's get him to perform statecraft. I don't think I need to sow dissent anymore. So what I'm thinking about as far as Metz is concerned right now, I can basically increase my individual power and introduce ruler imprisonment sovereignty. It's going to cost me a favor, but I'm actually willing to spend that. And then that kind of brings me on the path to war declarations and then abolishing the council. The problem is that it'll actually be the first time that I have vassals, especially as the Duke of Upper Lorraine. And I actually think my vassals sort of out... Oh, maybe they don't. Okay, actually, let's start abolishing the council. So I can do status of women. That would... Women related to the ruler are allowed to hold the office of spy master. Or now I really think the ability to imprison whenever I want is the best one. So similar strategy, we're going to find the oldest member who's not already agreeing with me. And we will... Yeah, he's a glory hound. So 55, 48, 68. So he will grant me council support. Let me just make sure it's Aldrich who doesn't want to... Alright, so I think this will actually be enough to push the policy through. I might be blowing a favor though. When 47-year-olds get you will have played many games. Your first was Telstar Pong. Your first was Elite. Oh, like the predecessor to Elite Dangerous. I don't even know. I think my first game was something on an old Commodore 64 my dad had, and it was a game called Raid Over Moscow. Young Egeltrude seems to always be willing to share. Yep, I'm okay with her becoming gregarious. Now, I can't remember if it's 50% on the council that you need to pass or if you need a majority. But I believe between the guy who is a loyalist and then the guy who I'm going to owe a favor to, I think I'm actually going to be able to push through something that weakens the council. A lot of malcontents. Okay, cool. So let's make our move. I'm going to just try this. So we've got 3 opposed. Council consideration. Yeah, honestly, I'm not too worried about this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try the law, and I'm just going to make sure. So if my... Alright, voted for... Yeah, returning the favor. Hopefully my loyalist will vote soon. The worst thing would be is if the loyalist votes last. So if I need like 50% plus 1, I can quickly get a favor for one of the remaining guys. StarCraft was your first game? Yeah, StarCraft's a really... I mean, I actually have played the original Warcraft. Again, it was on a friend's computer. I don't think I ever owned the original Warcraft, actually. But... I remember really I think I went over that guy's place a whole lot to play it, actually. But I think Warcraft 2 is actually the one that I played more of. I think, now that I think of it, for... Confessing My Love can work. Yeah. I actually think, yeah, Warcraft 2 is probably the one I spent the most time with. I've probably played more StarCraft 2 than StarCraft 1. I actually played a lot of the original StarCraft 2, or StarCraft, but not Brood War, which I'm told is supposed to be like the really, like that was supposed to be the complete experience. Okay, so I just need 50%. Lords of Metz have approved the institution of ruler imprisonment sovereignty law. Now this is not important to me in and of itself. This is actually more so that in 5 years I can do war declaration, which is actually fairly important to me. And then the next step to that would be to abolish the council power. Although that might come back to bite me because in the end, Rudolph is going to have to deal with the consequences of that decision. But again, I think we're in a bit of a holding pattern. In this case, I'll flirt with her discreetly. That's going to boost up her opinion of me, and then hopefully the next time I need a new plan. Hopefully, yeah, 97. Hopefully the next time I catch her for a late night snack, I'm going to be able to jump into bed with her. One of the reasons it's so popular 18 years later in Korea. I mean, it's kind of the reason why people... It's almost like the... maybe not the reason, but it's almost like the people who keep playing... Oh, excellent. And she's already part of the... Alright, you know what? Let's go for broke. Lewd suggestion time. I sure know how to cajole women. Gerpega and I spent the night making sweet illicit love in her bed. I snuck off in the wee hours, leaving the court clueless, I hope. Yeah, we might as well keep her. Alright, let's find somebody who's got a high plot power. Can I seduce the bishop? No. But yeah, it's a little bit like people who play the original Dota. I think Gertrude doesn't want to be seduced, yeah. Clothilda? Yeah. Hardcore Diablo 2 player. You know, Diablo 2 is actually the one that I never got to the end of. I've played the end of the original Diablo, and I've played through Diablo 3, but I never actually got to the finish of number 2. I shall bring all my seduction skills to bear on Clothilda until I have her wrapped around my little finger. I actually think I only got to Act 2 of Diablo 2. Not a fan of hardcore, but you do like D2, still playing current ladder season on softcore. See, I actually only play hardcore. Although I've died to a lot of dumb stuff, so. My liege, Duchess Hyuela, has issued a decree calling for the expulsion of all unlanded Jews. I don't think that was the Duchess that ordered that. From the realm saying various grievances committed against the crown. Fair enough. So I'm not going to be able to... This is actually fairly important for me. I'm not going to be able to borrow my way out of... I'm not going to be able to borrow my way out of the... any wars that come up. Alright, so another son. Fortunately, though, the succession laws don't create any problems. UI overhaul in this DLC is nice. Yeah, Vareg, one of the things I actually liked the most about it, too, was the inclusion of the sort of the passive duties for your vassals. Dear half-brother, may you live in harmony and contentment. I accept your demand. I will no longer back the plot to kill you. Sent Clothilda a beautiful necklace and covered her room with wildflowers, but I've heard nothing back from her. Could have been worse. So yeah, the court's easier to manage. The other thing that I really like the sort of holding pattern option. So again, even though my Chancellor kind of sucks, I still have something for him to do, and I can keep him, you know, hanging around passing laws. We'll flirt with her discreetly. And then, I mean, my one complaint about the UI is that it still talks about medium, high, and absolute crowned authority. But yeah, in general, I think, I mean, the game's always gotten better from the first DLC that I played up to, you know, up to now. I think I think they generally know sort of what the game needs work on. The only thing I was surprised about with Monks and Mystics, actually, was I thought they were going to be adding theocracies, but they didn't. Yeah, well, you know, the one thing I will say about it, Varag, is it does seem... So I like the fact that it gives you something to do in between, but I tend to notice... I mean, so this one I'm doing a very specific in-character playthrough of, like, only playing Satanists that are intending to sort of corrupt the Holy Roman Empire. Of course, this guy's being disagreeable, and he's getting the lover's pox, but apparently he's not getting any sin. But I think one of the big things for me is... The only drawback is it feels like the Benedictines and the Dominicans are a little too passive. The Hermetic is cut off to you if you're not smart enough, and sometimes you want to be something other than Lucifer's Own. So it'd be kind of neat if you had something that maybe wasn't like completely pious. Oh wow, they've really lost influence. But I don't know. I really do like the fact that it gives you something to do while you're waiting, and I've actually noticed that I'm missing having sort of society stuff to do while waiting around. So. Yeah, Varek. Well, I mean, the other thing too is like I've done so many. So the first playthrough I ever did was I was the Count of Westmoreland, which is, where is it? Right here. I was started as this count, and it was just this absolutely mental playthrough where we wound up just kind of taking about this whole area on the map. The very famous House of Rose playthrough, in which I think we still have a couple of commands. And I mean, we even did like a Viking playthrough. It was the first time I played, we played the Norse. And again, that was fun, but I sort of, again, did this whole, like, I want to start as a count and blob out as much as I can. So I thought this time it would be sort of fun, especially because I was given an early key, and I know everybody would want to see the society mechanics anyway. There's something really fun about, trying to corrupt the Holy Roman Empire from within. Even if, I never moved up from Count, that would still be sort of a fun series of stories to play. And I mean, there's a lot of cool story stuff that comes out of being in Lucifer's Own, so I've been very happy with this playthrough, but... attending a festive outing with Clothilde. I don't remember what the response was, but let's try seek an ally amongst her friends. Found Elizabeth sympathetic to my romantic cause. She and Clothilde chanced upon me at a nearby stream, and the three of us had a great time. I can tell she is falling for me, for she barely noticed her friend leaving. I lean in to whisper in her ear. So she's weak, arbitrary, wroth, charitable, humble, and temperate. Let's try the love poetry. I don't know if this will work, though. Clothilde backed away from me, blushing and stammering something about being sorry before rushing off. Virtuous strong. Right, so I need to flirt with her discreetly until... Because getting a friend means that I'm going to try and make a move. Oh, how long... sorry, how do I long plan on living or being, like, on live? Oh, sorry, that was in response to Zelapar. Managed to chance on her alone in the kitchen. Well, I mean, any option here. Let's do confess love. Oh, cool. I sure know how to cajole women. Clothilde and I spent the night making sweet illicit love in her bed. I snuck off in the wee hours, leaving court clueless, I hope. Again, I'll let the love grow. The idea here is I want to get the opinion bonuses so that I can get more people to participate in the plot. Yeah, I keep forgetting the AI actually shows me whether I can end it. Alright, so there's some title revocation going on. Again, I'm not quite powerful enough to worry too much about what my Emperor or my Kaiser is doing. Recently, I've noticed the pitiful state of my son Rudolph. I have just been informed that the cause of his aches and fatigue is a case of the flu. Call for the court physician at once. They do have a court physician, right? Kaiser Engelbert of the Holy Roman Empire created the... Okay, cool. Fate smiles upon me, and my wife is pregnant. Very productive. Oh, and she's a falconer. Cool. Do you notice the AI being a bit more aggressive to me since this DLC? I can't say I have, Varag. In fact, I would say that... so, again, I'm just going to call this guy Aleister Crowley, because he was a very evil man. So I had 3 different lords who knew that he was a member of Lucifer's Own and didn't imprison him. So I wasn't too... I guess I wasn't too panicked about it. But I mean, that's anecdotal. I mean, I've only really had one proper playthrough, and it seems like the AI was, it at least let me get away with things. It wasn't actively trying to, like, eliminate me from the game, so. A new bird has arrived in the muse on the bookshelf. In the muse, and a new book on the art of writing poetry is in the library. Well, dullards don't read books, so let's take the falcon off for the hunt. And it actually be something that I have in common with my wife, if that works out. All right. Woman should know her plate. Oh, actually, she's got good intrigue, so let's give her pride, because that will give her brooding. All right, the new bird was more aggressive than the ones that I'm used to. It killed many rabbits, but was unwilling to relinquish its catch. It even attacked me when I tried to pry one away. Poetry's safer? Let's try that instead. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to be an authority by any means in terms of the behavior of the AI. I mean, I have a feeling that there's probably a few different anecdotes that people can offer. I actually don't read patch notes, so I'm sure there's probably something in like the dev diary or the patch notes that might communicate something about the AI, or maybe they just change stuff in the background. But large merchant caravan from distant land has arrived in the gates of your stronghold. Their leader, a jovial man of massive girth, pleads with you in a strange accent to grant them shelter from the elements for the night. Very well, let them in. I already have a fairly decent steward, but yeah, couldn't hurt. Alright, so somebody's trying to kill me. Princess Emily is trying to kill me. Alright, so question number 1. Oh, she's trying to kill... Yeah, my heir. 80% chance. Yeah, so let's give that a shot. Emily managed to avoid my guardsmen and has fled the court of King... Okay, well, so much for that. And the plot. Nope, she won't do that. Bad luck. And again, nothing I can do about my rival other than hopefully kill him before he kills me. As evening falls, the fat merchant sits by the fire and regales you and the rest of the court with stories of his travels. His appetite seems insatiable, but as you do not wish to prove a poor host, you order your servants bring in a second serving. You know, for having 3 lovers, you'd think I'd have a sin by now. As dawn breaks, the caravan prepares to move on. The merchant insists on leaving you a gift and thanks you for your great hospitality. He shouts a terse command in a foreign language, and a young man comes forward. This eunuch will serve you well, the merchant says. His loyalty to you, his new master, shall be beyond reproach. That is very kind. I accept your gift, and I have... Actually, so he's pretty good at a lot of different things. I don't know if I want to replace my spy master, though. So Simeon... Definitely very good at the spying. And my spy master is not very good at anything else. And I owe him a favor. Bam! That's what he gets for loyalty. Alright. Oh yeah, I should also try to seduce my way to some more, plot power. Assuming that works, it may not. It didn't seem to convince, Clothilda. Well, she's already got a really high opinion of me, actually, so unless I, break the relations. Already seduced Clothilda. Gisela. And actually, this is a tough call because I do want my loyalist council member, but I also kind of want to, yeah, let's sow discontent. Hey Pithrem, how you doing? This may not work so well. Because the Chancellor's really bad, and he may actually wind up captured, which is not exactly what I want. But. Also, because I've got 2 different sort of missions against me, it's tempting actually to bring my spy master back. She's not coming after that. Sent Giselda a beautiful necklace and covered her room in wildflowers, but I've heard nothing back from her. Could be worse. Yeah, I think we just gotta sit down and watch what happens. My modest attempts to write poetry were never meant to be published in any way, but wherever I go, bards and minstrels are reciting or singing my poems. Let's do the poetry bonus. Doesn't hurt to get a little extra stat. I think it's just diplomacy. Yep. Managed to chance upon Gisela alone in the kitchen when she came down for her usual late-night snack. We've talked and laughed for hours, and I can tell the attraction is going. Hoping I've read her correctly, I lean in to whisper in her ear. Not very likely for anything. Ah, yes, the scarred, one-legged, brawny seduction. Let's just go straight up about it. Virtue is strong in this one. Yeah, my only disappointment is not getting myself some sin. Might actually have to call it tonight because I'm already half an hour later than what I wanted, but maybe we'll do another half hour unless something else comes up. All right, well, I'll try the love poetry, but I have a feeling, yeah, I gotta wait for more opportunities to boost the opinion, and I don't really want to spend money to get it. Made sure to attend a minor event in Lindingen for hopes of seducing Duchess Gisela, but despite my attempts, she remains unimpressed. So let's see if that affected my relationship at all. Nope, still 33. Lover's Pox is obviously something that's causing a drag on my my abilities. I really want to know what I did to... Oh! I should have seen that coming, actually. My wife died in childbirth. Someone was born to Duke Fulmore the Chaste and Duchess Halwaya the Usurper, named Albedero. Okay, well, I gotta get myself a new wife. I think the succession is still intact. So my son is actually my liege, I think, is how that works. Yeah, that's got to be really hard for spanking the kid or something like that. Is there anything I can do to sort of consolidate my power? I've got a Princess of England, which would probably be good for some prestige. Well, the others are quite young, so, yeah. Wilbrith, Princess of England. To the heroic Count Fulmar, peace be with you, I accept your suggestion that Count Fulmar and Princess Withbirth get married. Gisela has not responded to the love letter I left on her pillow. I won't give up just yet. Time for a witch hunt to find the wife. Yeah, hopefully she doesn't know about the Lover's Pox. Request council support to the level-headed poet Fulmar. May you live in harmony and contentment. Please support me by voting for me in the council. If you agree to do this for me, I will henceforth owe you a favor. Who are you again? I thought some carefully placed words where they could be easily overheard by notorious gossips would be more effective than a love letter. Well, Duchess Gisela clearly got the message, for she started rumors of her own about me. Ingenious, but I won't give up so easily. So I'm assuming I got the repelled modifier? Yeah. I really wish I knew what people were trying to do. Decline. On the council before I gave them favors. So I usually decline just out of hand because, I mean, obviously I intend to be playing that character, and usually people who are servants tend not to want things that are good for the ruler. Some carefully placed words where they can easily be overheard by notorious gossips can be more effective than a love letter. Duchess Gisela must have gotten my message, for I found a lock of hair wrapped in silk and her personal seal in my chambers today. Haha, I shall have her. It's a nice wedding present for my wife. Guess what? I'm having an affair. Managed to chance upon Gisela alone in the kitchen when she came down for her usual late-night snack. We've talked and laughed for hours. I can tell the attraction is growing. Hopefully I've read her correctly. I lean to whisper in her ear some of my own love poetry, but again, I don't think it's going to work because we don't have enough, relationship. Yeah, I kind of feel like there's not a whole lot I can really be doing right now. This is hilarious. I wish it would just give you an option to sort of say, you know, hold off, but it doesn't, so. I've also been a little bit lucky that nobody's tried to seize the title either from my son or myself. Let's flirt with her discreetly. Despite never getting a chance to be alone with Gisela, I do believe my winning personality has impressed her. So 57's kind of getting in the ballpark. I still want to get a little bit better there. I'll maybe talk a bit about what the future plans are. So when this character dies, fate smiles upon me. My wife with birth is pregnant. Excellent. Young Alwa has finished his education in the ways of war. I notice with pride that he's attained nothing less than a masterful level of knowledge. Excellent. Young Alwa is showing tendencies to be more of a doer than a thinker. Yes, that would be the way to describe it. Should focus on teaching him bravery, or he should do his own thing, loses the trait rowdy and gains the trait dull. Well, I definitely do not want him to have dull, so teach him bravery. And let's find him a wife. Again, we go to Medieval Tinder for this. Well, Trudis is my daughter, so that's not the one that I want. I remember we were originally trying for... I think I said Alwa and... Is she already betrothed? Yeah, so she wants to continue the bloodline. Fair enough. Alright, well, I mean, this son's kind of plan B anyway. Where the hell did he go? Ah. I screwed up. I'm missing something here. Okay, so it's, maybe I got the name wrong. We'll just do a sort by age. If he just became of age, then... There we go. So yeah, Medieval Tinder. Let's find a suitably young... I mean, could be worse. Yeah, we'll go for that. It's mostly just somebody to produce babies. I haven't really been taking advantage of the alliances. We'll flirt discreetly, and then I think we'll be good. Yeah, 82. We'll be able to make our move. I haven't really been taking advantage of the this case, I'm just going to auto-stop plots. Mostly because I haven't really had cause to call on it, although let's, I think actually maybe I should form an alliance. Yep. Let's actually send a few of these out. Got some strong friends now. Alright, leave her a note to meet me by the stream. I didn't have to wait long for Gisela to show up at the nearby stream. We've spent hours chatting and laughing, and I do believe that she's falling for me. I lean in and whisper in her ear, and I think I'll still do confess my love. Gisela backed away from me. Damn it, virtue is strong. Count Egnolf of Lausitz knows about my affair with Countess Gerpega. He knows the child she carries is actually mine. How embarrassing. And yet, for some reason, adulterer doesn't count as a sin. Quote love poetry? Alright, we're just doing full-on lewd suggestion. Sorry guys, I know this is a little bit more, a little slower than what we want. Managed to chance upon Gisela alone in the kitchen when she came down for her usual late snack. We talked and laughed for hours, and I can tell the attraction is growing. Hopefully I've read her correctly, and I lean in to whisper in her ear a lewd suggestion. There we go. Sure know how to cajole women after multiple attempts. We spent the night making sweet illicit love in her bed. I snuck off in the wee hours, leaving court clueless. I hope. Let our love grow. And I finally lost the chase trait. Thank God. Maybe we can get some serious stats here now. Not having a whole lot of luck with this assassination plot. So I've already got her. See, the problem is that she's so good at being able to kill this guy. Oh yeah, he's my rival. So I'm sleeping with his wife. That's actually fantastic. There doesn't seem to be a way for me to push him over, though. Son was born to Count Fulmar the Chaste and Countess Gerpega of Lausitz, named Sigsbrand. It seems my amorous adventures have resulted in a child. Little Sigsbrand is my spitting image. Alright. Unfaithful lecher. So if I acknowledge... Yeah, you know what? She already doesn't like me. Give her a gift. Son is born to Count Fulmar the Chaste and Princess Withbirth of England, named Fulmar. There you go. You got one of your own. And she's sick, actually, so maybe maybe we'll be able to get rid of her. The peasants told me about the peasants told the whole castle about a dragon they saw in the forest and how an eager young man kept nagging me about the true dragon hunt. Some gold might shut them up. Fearsome dragon, thou doth not scare me. One marshal. Dragons do exist, right? Perturbed, monthly prestige goes up, the diplomacy goes down, and I will kill it and hang its head over the hearth. Let's see. Fearsome dragon, thou doth not scare me. I think I'm sleeping with all possible plotters. Yeah. I think we'll just take a break from that. Alright. Seeks to kill Weedo. 93% chance. Has the Great Pox. I actually have somebody better. Yeah, so in this case we will... especially if Hugo is participating in any plots. Oh yeah. Yeah. We will... But he's currently waiting on another offer. Okay. Well. We'll wait, and then we will imprison him. I'll be upset if I miss out on the 7%. There we go. Safely locked away in my dungeon awaiting his fate. Now, he is blood. Declaim poetry. You are such an accomplished poet that Hugo is your prisoner. You may punish him by declaiming terrible poems to him. That's actually really funny. Oh, wait a minute. Tyrant? But he was a plotter. It's annoying. I actually just did it so I could ransom him. So if I banish him, I only get 5 gold. Ah, he's 58, he's not going to have any kids. Oh, you know what? He probably... I think I know what happened. He probably volunteered to stop the plot. Heinrich the Wise usurped the title County of Kemptgen from Arnold von Andex. Ripped pillows, broken furniture, shattered vases. My marriage to Withbirth has devolved into an unending torment of bitter arguments and fiery rows. I would be depressed, but my lover, Cothilda, has suggested that we retire to the countryside for a few days of carefree romance and passion. Bonus to diplomacy and health, and almost no risk of discovery by Withbirth. Yeah, we'll go for that. I've got 2 more years before we can do another vote, which I suspect will probably be hard. Dear Fulmar, I would like to invite you to join me for a small gathering of friends to dine and drink and forget about the world outside for a little while. Please be prepared to reserve a few days for this in case we truly get into the spirit of proceedings. Well, he does like me, so of course I will come. I just hope I don't wind up murdered. Only drawback with the bloodline now, of course, is that only some of these guys are in line for claiming the duchy. Gisela died under suspicious circumstances. Oh. Wait, was that his wife? That guy's a stone cold killer if it was his wife. Jesus. Oh, he's trading up. Katerina of Franconia. Age 16. You're over the private rooms of Prince Bishop Ulrich. There's plenty of food and drink here and the mood is decidedly merry. You are looking forward to this. Let's get it started. It's actually really interesting. So obviously I'm used to like hosting feasts. So, oh, Baron Jacob, my co-conspirator, has sent word that a massive pit of manure has been prepared under the floorboards of an abandoned inn on the path Duke Wuldrick will travel with his escort. Once they are seated at a table, kaboom! These days of revelry are an excellent escape. So many laughs, so many intense conversations in such a short time. It brings you closer to your companions. You feel like good friends already. You are my best friend. Let's see if the assassination works. Young Engeltraud has finished her education in the ways of war. I notice with pride that she has attained nothing less than a masterful level of knowledge. Excellent. Alright, so it doesn't seem like there's a lot of great options inside the HRE, so let's see if we can do a matrilineal marriage. This will probably be too little prestige. So I could order her to take the vows because she's got a high mark. Oh, but she won't be able to serve on in the army anyway. All right. Well. Yeah, why not? Excellent. Young English is showing tendencies to be more doer than more of a doer than a thinker. Again, teach her to become brave. The reveling and carousing is over for now. Time to get back to real life. So this actually also keeps my daughter inside. Hang on. Excellent. Success. Duke Wigrick perished in the manure explosion. There's no trace of complicity to be found amongst the rubble. So I got rid of my rival, and as a result, probably I am Vanguard Master. Wigrick went out with a bang, but we'll do our best. I probably got at least maybe 10 minutes left of me. Alright, so Kaiser's declaring some wars. I got rid of my rival, which was kind of my biggest worry in terms of taking out the dynasty. I think we'll actually make a move on Princess Amelie now. Now the catch here, the thing that drives me a little crazy is that this is going to kill my alliance to France. But unless I can actually... Like, there's no way I'm going to get her to end it. Well, hang on. No, she still won't end it. Alright, well that was wasted money. In this case, it's got to be done. Let's switch. So I think in this case now I'm going to get my Spy Master to scheme, just so we can have a little protection. Still keeping with the collecting taxes, we're slowly rebuilding our treasury. I think researching cultural tech is the way to go. What I should have done was assign my marshal to be building up my armed forces. And there's no reason for me to be sowing dissent anymore, so we'll perform some statecraft, especially because we seem to have accidentally... did a tyrannical act, so I've got a pretty angry bunch of counselors and vassals. Don't stop playing, you love my stories? I'm glad you like them. I mean, I thought the game might have been a little dry for a bit, but... And one of the nice things that we have is we do have an alliance, so if somebody does try to attack us, obviously we've got some, you know, some backup. But again, we're just slowly progressing through. The plan seems to be working so far, so we've got another 10 years before we have sort of the heir getting into a position where we need them. And the nice thing is that eventually once this guy dies, we're going to inherit the duchy, and we're also going to be getting the barony of Claw. So we will now have... Someone's born to Count Fulmar, the chastened princess with birth of England named... Wow, he's productive. Being on my liege's council is not always easy. You have a huge amount of work that needs attention, and there's so much to do. The list seems endless. Just as you're about to give up, Prince Bishop Ulderic steps through the door and asks if you want any help. As tempting as it would be, you would be in his debt for it. So you know I can manage 75% of gaining the trait stressed, which I'm not crazy about. And I hurt my relationship with him. Yeah. I'm not really ready to have a health penalty to my character. Played a lot of Mountain Blade and wrote everything down that happened to him. So much fun to have a story like that. I actually really, I've really overlooked Mountain Blade. I'd like to pick it up if I can. I actually got it on GOG, but it took a little bit for me to get used to. So I'm still sort of working my way around the controls, but it looks like a really solid game. Hang on, my Chancellor. During a regency. Oh, hang on. This is my liege council. Alright, my Chancellor no longer likes me enough, so screw him. I realize he's discontent, but or malcontent, but I might as well have somebody who's good at the job. My liege, during my stay in Metz, I have found a great philosopher who has agreed to help me with my studies and enhance the culture in the country. With your permission, I would suggest that we employ him. It costs me 17 gold, which is quite a bit, but it does give me a bonus to cultural technology and, more importantly, prosperity, which I think kind of just pushes it over the edge a little bit in terms of what we wanted. So, sure. It's a very hard... Okay, that's good to know. Like, I'm sort of used to... I've been spoiled by modern games because I sort of thought... I kind of had this expectation that I'd be able to sit down and just sort of, you know, pick it up right away. You know what? I hate... Oh, I've already bribed him. While I'm spending money, I might as well buy my way out of some of these problems. Still not great, but we only have one malcontent, so... Alright. Died of cancer, but she was just a lover, so not a big problem. Oh yeah, she had my bastard, actually. Of course I'll come. I cannot believe it. Dearest Kerbega, my nice lady, you are gone from this world and I am left behind, alone and heartbroken. I will never hold you in my arms again. I do not know what to do with these unbearable ceilings. I will seek the solace of your grave, my love. Do not want to see anyone. Leave me alone, depressed. I mean, that'd be a good way for me to get to play as my son, but of course... What the hell? Ugh, I did not want him to get faith. Alright. Or not another tear. No longer shall I let myself be ruled by my feelings. I think I already have the cruel trait. No, I don't. Okay. I am cruel. I like seeing other people cry. I've gained the cruel trait. Still no luck of becoming sinful, though. Guess I could try and find another lover. Carcarosa? Italian. Why not? Cruel is not sinful, Pie of Reckoning. Oh, seek other quarries. Too old. There we go. So bring all my seduction scales to bear on Mechild until I have her wrapped around my finger. You've arrived at the private rooms of Prince Bishop Udalric. There is plenty of food and drink here, and the mood is decidedly merry. You are looking forward to this. Surely he can teach me some sin. I mean, look at that mustache. That is a sinful mustache. Prince Bishop is clearly going overboard with his drinking. You should take it easier. That is correct, Idelic. The easiest way is just look for the... I always just look for the red. Reveling and carousing is over for now. Okay, so just got a little prestige out of that. I am okay with that. There's no rush. Again, until I know what the efforts are, I'm not going to support in the council. I sent her a beautiful necklace and covered her room with wildflowers. Have not heard anything back. Could have been worse. I mean, I don't know what to say, Pie Reckoning, because I know... oh, epidemic. Is it worth it? What's in the area? So it looks like measles is running around. We'll try and be brave. Having an inordinately hard time. Yeah, there's no rush. So far as I can see, I've gained Impaler as being part of Lucifer's Zone, but I've definitely not I've not been able to indicate interest unless I've had one of the red circles, or the, as Idilek calls it, the 7 sin traits. Yeah, I think we're shutting the gates. Some commoners have already gathered outside as your guards start closing the gates. A decisive thump silences the curious chatter coming from the other side. Seal it. And let's... Ugly. Teacher etiquette. Measles started in Alexandria, smallpox, slow fever, smallpox, measles in Yeet, and Breda. Yeah, curiously locked behind my doors, terrified of measles, is kind of hard to get some seduction going. That's all you've seen trigger it, but you've only seen a few streamers use it, and you don't have that DLC yourself. Yeah, I mean... So, there are multiple ways of joining Lucifer Zone, so far as I can tell. So somebody can actively force you into it, but then I think Pyre of Reckoning probably would have already said, yeah, there was, you know, I got converted, you know, in prison or something like that, or I was demon possessed. But so far as this tooltip is concerned, I believe the sinner trait is specifically one of the numbered sins. I'm not too sure about giving us this notice, because I mean, these guys have already decided to be in hiding on their own. I think even if I got out myself, I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to use them. But funnily enough, you have yet to be attacked by members of Lucifer's own field. You're either a high priest or they never exist. Funny, because I've actually had a couple of rivals. I'm trying Rob Zig, but I haven't had the sinful trait ever since I inherited the title. So this has actually been one where, even though he's like slow, or he's dull, he has like nothing really going for him, and yet he's been able to get a duchy for the family. He's been able to introduce primogeniture in Metz, and has just generally actually been a very capable ruler compared to his sinful dad. So, but yeah, because the worst I've gotten is the Lover's Pox. There's definitely no Lucifer Zone yet, unfortunately. Alliance. All right, so Fulmar, Dorothea died in childbirth. Fair enough. So far I was a little too scared. Might get, so I have a hospital, but yeah, you know what, we'll just wait the disease up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we made the right call. To the level-headed wit Fulmar, blessings on you and your house. We request that you honor your obligation and answer the call to arms against Emir Yaha of the Dunhuid Emirate. Declining would cost us 726. All right, well, we'll accept, but fortunately we don't need to worry about Snow Rush. For us, we don't need to worry about actually committing anything to this. I'm kind of curious what we're up against, though. Trying to get a good night's sleep, but I'm tormented by horrible recurring nightmares of your people. The pleas for help and the hurtful words begin to get to me. I stay in seclusion. I would lose the trait Brave. Ah, open the gates and help them. I don't really want to lose the trait Brave. 4K, so looks like the French kind of have this on their own. Now, unfortunately, we have a negative trait, Abandon the Commoners, so general opinion of me goes down, and I might actually still catch the disease, which is the really dreadful part. Some carefully placed words where they can be easily overheard by notorious gossips can be more effective than a love letter. Methshield must have gotten my message, for I found a lock of hair wrapped in silk with a personal seal in my chambers today. Attending a festive outing. I think we'll flirt with her discreetly just to boost the number. We've got a couple people who I think probably died of... Maybe it was because of that title that was given. Anyways. I think keeping things as close to the way they were before is probably best. Still want him to scheme, and then we'll collect taxes. Well, actually, let's see. Do we have a better replacement? No, we do not. Still training troops, and I don't really have any better options for what to do with this guy, so we'll perform statecraft for now. New court physician. Yeah, 22 will do. And I technically can do this, but I have a feeling, yeah, so I'm going to need to bring 2 people on board. I guess the question is it worth it? So he's returning a favor to Alwa. He's returning a favor to Dietrich. And I've got to... Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to... Alright. Let's make... Wait, Master of the Hunt gives +5. I am not giving him Cupbearer. Alright. I don't think I'm going to be able to assign the titles to make these guys happy. I think we'll just ride it out, except that I'm not able to implement the stuff that I wanted. You live in harmony and contentment. We've decided to offer you the position of commander. Do you accept? Thanks, son. These dark days, my son Brengar has been beset by strange rashes and a high fever. I have just been informed that his affliction is indeed measles. Call for the court physician at once. Crusader kings, the Christian pilgrims of the Holy Land suffer all manner of abuse, and the routes are not safe. In order to protect the pilgrims and secure Jerusalem for Christ and the faithful, His Holiness Pope Benedictus X has accepted the possibility of an outright invasion by joint Christian forces. This signals a new era of large-scale Christian holy wars, the Crusades. Deus Vult! So, mild treatment, not great. Still churning out babies, which is good news. Let's teach him to brood. Made sure to attend this minor event with Gortlitz so I could seduce Smithschild. We've been dancing and conversing all night, and she's clearly responding to my advances. Meet in my room, milady. Sure know how to cajole women. We spent the night making sweet love and snuck off in the wee hours, leaving the court clueless, I hope. I think I'll do Let Our Love Grow. I think the next few ones I'm just gonna love them and leave them. And why not just continue looking for attractive miladies? She's pregnant. Berta. It's a little early for this, but patient, chaste, temperate. Best I could do would be to confess my love. Ooh, sure know how to cajole women. Berta and I spent the night making sweet illicit love in her bed. I snuck off in the wee hours, leaving the court clueless, I hope. Vini vidi vici. And she got the lover's box. Carlotta. I arranged for a scented love letter to be left on Carlotta's pillow in an attempt to woo her, and I seem to have struck true, for she left one on mine confessing her attraction to me. Oh ho, time to up the ante. Mead in my room, milady. Vindi vidi vici. Hey, I got the lustful trait. Alright, now the game gets interesting. So, societies, Lucifer's own. We will subtly indicate our interest in these matters. Life spent in the arms of another is a life well spent. I have gained the lustful trait. I might even want to consider... Yeah, we'll keep with seduction for now. Basically, the dominant trait in amongst Lucifer's own is intrigue. So, a daughter was born to Count Fulmar the Chaste and Princess Withbirth of England named Richenza. And so I've got a depressed, timid, haughty, brooding child. I thought brooding would be good for... It's playful and fussy. Alright, I gotta remember that. So you've got a bunch of contradictory abilities. Let's do learning for her. Hey Astral Seer, how you doing? My court physician Berthold has suggested that I buy him some books on anatomy and herbalism so that he can improve his skills. It'd be in the best interest... It'd be in my best interest as well. 10 gold. Astral Seer, thank you very much for the host. Things are well. I might be wrapping up fairly soon, but I figure let's at least leave it to the point where I get into the into Lucifer's own. Fortunately, my son no longer has measles, so we've got 7 more years before we sort of secure the succession. My court physician Berthold is worried that my newborn daughter, Richenza, is a feeble thing even compared to other infants. Berthold says that she may not live to see her first birthday. Berthold, you must attempt to save my Richenza. Crusade for Jerusalem. His Holiness Pope Marinus III has been swayed by the cries for help from the Christian population in the Kingdom of Jerusalem. He urges all able-bodied men of Europe to take up arms against the evil Caliph Ashraf in order to secure Jerusalem from the clutches of the Mohammedan infidels. God will grant the pilgrims remission of sins in heaven. Deus Vult! While little Richenza still appears slightly weaker than other children her age, I swear she's much more energetic than she was a couple of weeks ago. She may not be out of the woods yet, but the worst has passed. Thank you, Berthold, for giving my daughter a second chance. Health +1. My court physician Berthold has let me know the new books I bought him were extremely helpful, and that he has already got a plethora of new ideas that he wants to implement. Alright, so we're actually repairing our... damn it. In these dark days, my son Fulmar is beset by strange rashes and a high fever. I've just been informed that his affliction is indeed measles. Call for the physician. Successful treatment. Good. Everybody's catching measles. Maybe I should upgrade the hospital. Although, fortunately, it seems to be leaving. Let's teach him duty. Kind of setting him on the path. Why do I make this game look so easy? I don't know, Vanguard Master. I mean, I do my best to try and explain what I do along the way. So I think one of the tricks about this game is you just sort of need to know what to focus on at the time. So if we take a look at it, right? So this particular playthrough, we married someone who who had a claim on the Duchy of Lower Lorraine. Now, she died, unfortunately, but she was able to produce a couple of heirs for us. So in 5 years, we're going to secure this this holding. We'll have the Barony of Caul. Now, I think the rest of Verdun... Oh, hang on, this is not the right area. So who owns this? Oh, looks like France lost. My bad. Oh, I do have the County of Verdun. Okay, so I was just looking at the wrong thing. So what this is going to mean is we're actually going to have 2 counties. And in the end, part of it was trying to build a strategy over a little... over a time, but then we also sort of set ourselves up for luck. So even in some situations, right, like I've married into English nobility on the chance that maybe something down the line will come up. Right now, the only claims that I really have are for people who, I don't know, they don't really kind of merit it, so... Oh, I think another one of my lovers died. Looks like we're still waiting on joining the, Oop. Guido is no longer steward for Count Fulmar. I think I can probably just assign him again. No, I cannot. Alright. I actually like good steward. Oh, hang on. It'll be cheaper if I invite a noble. They'll do. Starting to get some people who don't owe favors anymore too, so... Alright. The new Fulmar. Let's get him to do... struggle. Your way to use to combat in games like this, you're trying to wrap your head around not trying to conquer the whole world because you can't rule over everyone. Would you try to marry one of your males to an English female, and in that instance would marrying a daughter to an English noble give you claims later on? Well, it depends entirely on the succession laws. So what specifically happened in this case was there was a character who had a claim on the Duchy of Lower Lorraine. So I had her marry this male heir. Now, what I did in her case was I actually did, I have another character, so in this case the same situation exists. For Wiltrudis, she's got a strong claim on the Duchy of Lower Lorraine, so this means that this actually can be passed on to the second in line in the succession. So let's say I wanted this character for some reason to inherit the duchy, or to claim the duchy. In this case I could do, claim Lower Lorraine. Or I could get, Berengar or any one of these things, right? So basically, what I did was I basically fought my liege in order to claim that title. Now what's happened here is because my wife got the duchy title, I still did not have that in my bloodline yet. What I needed was an heir, but because it was not a matrilineal marriage, the marriage happened before she was the Duchess of Lower Lorraine, because the, all of the sons will be from the von Metz family, this ensured that my heir would be the one to sort of inherit the title. And so the final trick was to make sure that Metz had primogeniture succession. So basically, the trick about this game and the fun of this game is that you can, but do not always need to use, military means to achieve your goals. I'm just going to take a quick second here and see if I can... So I can buy a favor, but I can't request council support. Alright, so I gotta wait 4 months, 2 months. Okay. We'll wait 4 months. Yeah, Vanguard Master. I mean, again, this is probably one of the more complicated daughter born to Dietrich von Luxemburg and Ingoltraud von Metz, named Engeltraud. Hang on, I even let him marry into the family, that bastard. All right. This is definitely one of the more roundabout ways that I've achieved the title, but again, it's just a matter of, it's like I said a little bit earlier in the cast, like what this game really is you put your pieces on the board and you sort of wait over time to see your plans become realized. Ah, excellent. All right, I think we'll still go for diplomacy because 2 dominant traits over the negative ones. It's sort of our best option. So, I was having dinner and plenty of drinks with Gombao tonight. It's lovely, yet what I'm most charmed by is Gombao himself. Why else would I not immediately stop our conversation, which has slowly begun to touch upon some almost heretical ideas, questioning the salvation of God? If we do not ask questions, why did God make us curious? You think it's a great discussion fueled by alcohol or not? All right, so this is our recruitment into Lucifer's Own. Stellaris, definitely not Vanguard Master. Stellaris is probably the easiest out of all the Paradox games to get into. I think probably now Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis are more... They're closer now than they were before. I personally find Europa Universalis to be the more complicated game, but I think what you do is you weigh the priorities. So this game is very focused on individuals and your individual relationships with your vassals and your liege. Whereas if you prefer the idea of the nation state and sort of these big entities sort of gobbling up smaller ones, and you like the idea of sort of this, the age of discovery and such, then I think Europa Universalis is the better game, and I'd say the difficulty is probably comparable to Crusader Kings 2 if you're just starting with a blank slate. Hearts of Iron 4 is one of the more recent ones, and so I think probably has the benefit of all of the lessons that Paradox has learned between making sort of Crusader Kings 2, Europa Universalis 4, and Stellaris. So I think that one is probably some of the most polished in terms of like UI and, and trying to simplify mechanics for people. I will say you'll find it very different. If you've played Crusader Kings and if you've played Europa Universalis, you're actually going to find Hearts of Iron quite different. And that's just because of the different priorities of the game. So for instance, Hearts of Iron focuses a lot on the production of military equipment. There's definitely going to be a war, and almost certainly going to be World War, where there's sort of some scripted events in Crusader Kings, and I mean especially with more of the DLC, that's definitely a bigger feature than maybe it used to be before things like Horse Lords and that. But I mean, you can't make a World War II game and not have it be military focused, right? So they're all unique. The thing that really fascinates me about the grand strategy games is that they do such a very good job of sort of marrying these mechanics to sort of the time. So like Victoria 2 has got really good economic mechanics, which are probably, I guess, the if you wanted something with like the new Clausewitz engine, then really you have to play Hearts of Iron 4 if you want something like that. So yeah, it's a little bit of a question in terms of what you think the most interesting focus is. But in terms of the ones that you specifically mentioned, I think probably the ranking of the easiest to the most difficult, Stellaris, Hearts of Iron 4, and then Europa Universalis. However, out of those three, I'd say Europa Universalis is most similar to Crusader Kings 2. So if you started with Crusader Kings 2, I think Stellaris would still probably be the easiest one to learn because it is just a really easy game to learn by Paradox standards. But other than that, I think EU would probably be the next place to go. You watch Alex play a bunch, still seems a bit confusing at times, but you're attributing to just watching instead of playing the game. You may not notice some things that you... Yeah, definitely that's the case, Vanguard Master. I'll also say I think Alex plays a lot of the mods, so I don't know what Kaiserreich does that makes the mechanics different. Walking the palisades of my castle, I am joined by Gombao. I find myself agreeing a lot with the concepts that he presents. The futility of prayer particularly resonates with me. Suddenly he turns and presses a small leather pouch into my hand. My lord, will you carry this with you for protection? I'll keep it hidden, and I thank you, Gombao. But yeah, Vanguard Master, I mean, honestly, CK2 was the first one that went on sale, so when the rest go on sale, you'll be trying them out as well and see. Yeah, so I know CK2 has a demo, maybe Europa. I'm sure you can see this on like Steam or something like that. But honestly, so I think any of these games, even Stellaris, although Stellaris to a smaller effect, but I think any of these games has a certain buy-in as far as the complexity of the mechanics are concerned. Like, you don't buy these games to like just sit down casually with them one afternoon and like master them, right? They're games that will reward hundreds of hours of play while still learning like new tricks or new techniques or something like that. So I think the biggest one is what you want to do is you want to manage. So if you've never played a game like this before, which I know is not exactly your case, but speaking generally, if you've never played a game like this before, I think what will really help you is if you pick a game that is about something that you're interested in. It's the same reason why I don't really believe in the advice of starting on Noob Island. So usually people will tell you to start either in Ireland or in England as like a count or something like that. And I understand why they do that. But like I said, I've got a friend who is Muslim and he wants to play the stuff that you get in Sword of Islam, right? There's a lot of really big, powerful Muslim states. And I think probably the fact that there is the interest that comes from, you know, living that history and seeing that set of mechanics, even though it might be slightly more complicated than a simpler start as, you know, either a tribe in Ireland or some, you know, minor count in England. I think the fact that you're interested in what you're looking at will drive it through more than, say, just, oh, everybody who's new to the game starts in this area here. So again, if you like economic, you know, mechanics, then probably Victoria 2, although I think that's probably the most difficult because it's the oldest. Again, if you like the idea of big, you know, big armies, big nations, gobbling up smaller ones, then that's a little bit more like Europa. And I mean, again, that one's much more about a very interesting period of history, as you have sort of the rise of these empires. Whereas if you like sort of the attraction to me of Crusader Kings 2 is that interpersonal level where you really focus on the character and, you know, that saying heavy is the head that wears the crown. So even though I know this isn't necessarily the most popular Paradox game, I think it's a really good one. It's the one I recommend to people. And that's just simply a reflection of the things that I find most interesting, both in terms of a game and in terms of history. I mean, for historical periods, it's actually Europa Universalis 4 EU 4 and Victoria 2. In terms of the history that I've read that I'm most interested in. But as far as a set of game mechanics are concerned, I actually think Crusader Kings 2 is most in line with the political economy that I did, so. Yeah, exactly. Actually, Vanguard Master, the funny thing is I still haven't really been able to get into the Total War series yet. I find it a little difficult. Eastern European by birth, and I've got a passion for ancient Roman and Greek history as well as Western European history. So those are what interest you the most. So, I mean, if you want to play something like the Commonwealth, you know, that alliance between Poland and Lithuania, then Europa Universalis is best for that. You can also play the Duchy of Muscovy. You can found Russia. If you like ancient Roman and Greek history, the best you can get is the Byzantine Empire in Crusader Kings 2. Obviously, by the time Europa Universalis 4 comes along, the Byzantine Empire is about to be gobbled up by the Ottoman Empire. So in that case, if you like the ancient Roman and Greek history, your best bet is CK2. If you want Eastern European history, I mean, you can also play like medieval Poland, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But definitely if you want to play something like the Commonwealth, or if you'd like to play, God, what is his name? Sobieski. A lot of really interesting sort of Eastern European history tends to fall more so, in my view at least, in the Europa Universalis period. What if I told you that all you've been taught to believe is a lie? Gumbau continues, throwing a cautious glance around before pulling up his sleeve, revealing a scar in the shape of Satan's mark. God is a liar. Reject the tyrant deity and let Satan guide your steps. You're truly a witch then. Can you cure my lover? I think that's The lover's pox. We might. If you offer yourself up to Satan, he will grant you powers that God has kept from us humans. Fingering the leather pouch in my pocket, I slowly nod. Oh, and I think you'll enjoy it, he says with a knowing smile. If there's any chance it'll cure my lover, I will. Gombao leaves you alone for now, and the Coven will be in contact with you. Alright, so it looks like there's some favors being passed around again. Let's see where we're at. Returning a favor... Oof. Yeah, I'm not going to get through any of my legislation. Okay, that makes sense, Vanguard Master. Then yeah, I think CK2 is probably the best bet. But again, I like all of them, and I think Europa is also a natural extension simply because they've got the character converter. So you can continue on your game in Europa Universalis 4 if you really want. It's been some time since Gombao was in contact with me. I've been pondering what God would think of me for venturing down the path, but Gombao has already offered more support than God ever has. I began studying books on the occult, and so far I'm finding the views preached by the church to be very narrow-minded at best. Their lies are meant to hold us back. Or why must we always put the needs of others before our own? Continue to wait further instruction, and I gain the trait Greedy. Having more sins will let you move up in Lucifer's Own, so... I found some cryptic scrawlings written in blood on my bedroom door this morning. The guards say they haven't seen anyone enter during the night, and I dare not ask my court chaplain to decipher it. Yet I think I understand. The mark of Satan. So I can say, of course, the bargain must be struck. You carve Satan's mark into your arm, just like the one Gombao showed you. Or, my immortal soul, what if I'm wrong? Alright, I think once we get recruited, we'll maybe call it a night. I don't think I'm going to be able to take it to Duke Rudolph coming of age, although we should be able to get that. Actually, he's got great intrigue, so he'll probably be a good follow-up for Dad. Brother Fulmar, we have received word of your dedication and desire to join the Legion of the True Lord. Await the messenger. Oh my God, the Doge of Venice is in on it. You'll be on the lookout for the messenger. I met an intriguing and hypnotically beautiful woman at court. Apparently this is a foreign diplomat. I engaged her in some conversation for the first time today, and we spoke at length about the phrasings. I was shocked when she carefully pulled up her sleeve, remarking the mark of Iblis. You're the messenger. The abjurer smiles. I'm pleased to find you not only a charming man, Fulmar, but one capable of intellectual discourse. The brethren value the pursuit of knowledge, you see, in addition to more earthly pursuits. Her smile turns into a predatory grin as she continues. We'll soon see exactly how committed you are. What do you need me to do? Offers no reply, instead taking you by the hand. Escorts me to my bedchamber. I hesitate upon entering, finding it flooded with light as candles form a circle around my bed. Several hooded figures surround the room, chanting in unison. Fear not, brother, power and pleasure. These are the gifts of Iblis. I like the sound of that. You partake in the ritual. When I wake up, the cloaked figures are gone, and is lying next to me, a smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. Welcome to Lucifer's Own, Count Fulmar, she says. I hold her close, wondering how I will look back on this moment. I wish you had found me sooner. Count Fulmar joins Lucifer's Own society. Count Fulmar's opinion of changes by 25 for 60 months, and opinion of Count Fulmar changes by 25 for 60 months. While we're at it. I was hoping I could try seduce. Alright, so we made it. For those sharp-eyed amongst you, religion has slightly adjusted. We will appoint... Ooh, we don't have a lot of good options here. So we don't have any dark power yet, although we will be boosting up by intrigue, intrigue, lustful, and greedy. So again, the higher your intrigue is, the better off your stat will be inside of Lucifer's Own. We need to be a member for, I think, 2 years? 3 years. And we need 750 dark power before we do anything else. And so it looks like a lot of failed missions have actually pulled down our ranking. So let's take a look and see who's in here. So we've got a Doge. Definitely not as many kings as we used to have. So I think we're going to have to build out the ranks a little bit again. Compared to other societies, Benedictines, so the Dominicans are doing well, and the Hermeticists. So we definitely need to improve Lucifer's Own a bit. So let's go to my court, see who's got a good opinion of me. Well, I have a very good opinion of myself, it seems. Semyon. Not a sinner. Oda. Oh my god, she's the designated regent. This could end badly for me. Hello, Nerokeri. I'm actually going to be, probably going to be wrapping up for a little bit. Meeting with Oda, I made sure to only cautiously question the absolute power of our almighty god. Regretfully, it seems that my words only irritated my court here. From the steely look she finally gave me, I should probably steer clear of her for now. Alright. Wenzel? Meeting with Wenzel, I made sure to only cautiously question the absolute power of his almighty god. Thankfully, it seems that from my carefully chosen words had the desired effect on him. From his glittering eyes, I got the distinct impression that he enjoyed the philosophical aspect of our conversation. Verader went in with Wenzel on the palisades of his castle today. His face darkens when I again attempt to discuss the my world views. Then I offer him my favorite protection spell, a chicken leg in a leather pouch. I thought it was harmless enough, but he refuses to accept the gift. This has been a wasted effort. Wenzel is locked in his views. Okay. Let's spread open the net a little bit. And try some of the people who really like me. This is true. Alright. Lover 1 doesn't like it. Meeting with Carlotta, I made sure to only cautiously question the absolute power of our almighty god. Thankfully, it seems that my carefully chosen words had the desired effect on her. From her glittering eyes, I got the distinct impression that she enjoyed the philosophical aspect of our conversation. Wasted effort. Sophie, will you join with Satan? Eisentrude. Hans? Alright. See? Yeah, he's my son. Let's set him up for... I can't remember what the traits are really good for, Let's try Thrift. I can't remember what traits are good for Intrigue. You should just give him a pamphlets first before really talking to them. Priest had to prod me with a collection bag several times before I gruffly put a coin in it. I can attempt to steal some from it. Chance to gain 191 gold and chance to lose 30 piety. Or is this really necessary? Yeah. Yeah! Starting to think Engeltraud might fancy me. Make a move! Oh god. And she's... Lady Engeltraud has spurned my subtle advances. I can't remember what she is... I don't remember the relation. My cousin. How could she resist my charms? All right, guys. I'm definitely over time, so let me find you a fun pamphlet to leave with, and then we will... Oh, sorry. To the person who was private messaging me, I, for whatever reason, was not getting them in the regular chat, so I've been completely ignoring you. I apologize. All right. My bad. So somebody was private messaging me. Hey, nice music. All right, guys, I'm gonna find a quick comic to share you with. This will be the pamphlet that I start distributing before I talk about. Where is it? Where the hell did this thing... Ah, here we go. So I don't know if you guys know what Chick Tracts are, but here is what I will start distributing to people before I start talking to them about Lucifer Zone. Again, I'm about 45 minutes, or actually I'm an hour 45 minutes later than what I had planned, so I think we're at the end. This is a pretty good playthrough though, so we have finally managed to get into Lucifer Zone. Apparently we're having a bit of a midlife crisis, and decided that embracing Satanism was the way to go. Not in a great position with our council, although we did successfully implement primogeniture, and we've weakened the council control, so hopefully before the end of this character's life we're going to be able to maybe tilt things a little bit more towards empowering my son. We managed to pull off, so the thing that we set up last playthrough was actually, it was a bit indirect, but what wound up happening was this guy's mom, even though she died, we were able to sort of declare war to claim her title, at which point we managed to sire a few children who basically will inherit the duchy. So while my main character here is just only the Count of Metz, I do know that the rest of the bloodline will inherit. So what I'll be getting is not just a duchy, but I'll also be gaining an additional county, and I should be able to have a little bit of strength to claim Trier and Pfalz as we move on. Pfalz has 1.85, so we'd actually be able to take him on our own. And Trier is 1,000, so we'll definitely be able to clobber them. Of course, we might just usurp the titles as well. So yeah, it was, we got to do something that I didn't do before. I know we kind of frustrated some people in chat over the chat rules, but I appreciate, again, you guys for the most part, being good-spirited about it. I am going to do my best to try and make the casts a little bit friendlier to everybody, especially with regards to the backseating, because I really don't like the fact that people who are coming to enjoy themselves are suffering for the bad behavior of others. And again, it was always hard to diagnose backseating, especially when it's a game that that others haven't played. So it's you know, if people get purged, even if it isn't necessarily that bad, I do appreciate that for the most part people are recognizing sort of the spirit in which what it's intended. Jess is an incredible mod. She's done it for a lot of people, and I definitely would be a lot worse off if I didn't have her helping me out. So I definitely appreciate the work that she does, and I do appreciate you guys recognizing where all of that comes from. No, it wasn't Vanguard Master. We had somebody earlier who kind of gave a bit of an ultimatum to Jess. It's like, well, if you're gonna keep timing me out, I'm gonna have to find another channel. And I mean, the fact of the matter is that if I don't like something that Jess is doing as a mod, I will talk with her in private. But I will never, under any circumstances, air that dirty laundry in public. And so if anybody ever wants to do the, you know, well, either she goes or I go, like, I really don't need the views that badly. I do this as a hobby, right? This is not my living. And if, you know, if there's a conflict between Jess and the channel, even if it's somebody who's otherwise very friendly in chat, the fact of the matter is that Jess does a very good job of keeping things under control here. And so I just simply can't have the enjoyment of others go, you know, be thrown on the wayside because one person doesn't get along with them. And I get it, right? Like, genuinely, you know, I hope they find what they're looking for, right? Because this is a fun game, it's great to share with people, and everybody benefits if more people are playing Crusader Kings 2. But, again, I'm not going to be able to win them all, and I think the best bet is just to try and balance the priority of putting on a good show and making sure that the, you know, the mod, in this case, that I have feels comfortable doing what is necessary to keep it a good environment. Be better, damn it. I completely missed the message. I'm like, what the hell did Vanguard Master say? I said, Jesse Cole, it's going to be a fight to the death between us now. All right. On that bombshell, who wants to watch Zelda and who wants to watch Morrowind? Actually, tell you what. I'm actually gonna host the Zelda cast because it's W Shand, and I don't think I've hosted him too recently. Morrowind, damn it, guys. Okay, okay, well, everybody wants Morrowind, screw it. The people have spoken, so we'll raid the GOG channel instead. If you guys want to watch Zelda, it's gonna be W Shand, but I'm gonna be hosting GOGCom. They have the same number of viewers, so it's not a big deal to me which one I host, but Kilgore Trout's a really great guy, so if you guys want to watch some Morrowind, we're going to be hanging out. Do feel free to drop the raid message inside of his channel. And yeah, sorry, Michael, to you. And Nubasaur, I know some people have been coming in here recently, but like I said, I'm about 2 hours over now. And for those of you who want to watch the new Zelda, it's Midnight Society with W Shand, twitch.tv/W Shand. A couple of other streamers I'll mention. Melee Mage, who's doing Final Fantasy XIV. I kind of wanted to host him, but I know Morrowind and Zelda are two really popular ones right now. And if you guys like Hollow Knight, Ponce is actually playing that. So there's a lot of really good people hosting stuff right now, or sorry, playing stuff right now. But we're going to go over to GOG. So see you guys, and thanks a lot for watching.